Well, there goes. Let's try this. The 15 seconds. Here we go. Daverhood. I could have gone longer, but I exhaled. The Daverhood. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful, darling, and adorable wife, Joyce.
Your shirt in the background.
Yes, it's a riot of color here on this gloomy January day. It's
you're happy.
Yeah, well, it's January 16th because we all need this. It's been such a grim and glum and ridiculous time everywhere that, a little bit of Rick and Morty, a little bit of flamingos, a little bit of this behind me, and fun for the next 3 hours or so with our 781st episode of the program that we call Dave's Gone By. Well, how you doing, babe?
Good. I'm trying to figure out if I can do a watch party and type.
Now, this is, because Joyce, she never comes on camera, unfortunately, but she does a whole bunch of other stuff. She tumbles with me at parts of the show. She takes care of the back end of the program, if you will. So there's lots of Charmin involved, but she, that's the humor. So she's dealing with a watch party. She's dealing with posting things and reminding people to watch the show and telling people who's on the program, which is called WICKENSPEDIA today. Get it? WICKENSPEDIA. And it's funny, I had a choice. I was leaning either that way or Something Wickens This Way Comes, which I thought would be a good one too. It's all about our guest who will be with us in less than half an hour. He is a comedian and a one-man show person and also the co-founder of a theater festival called the Bad Theater Festival. I never, unfortunately, I never went. I'm hoping in a year it'll be back and I can get to go see it. But think about that. The Bad Theater Festival cannot wait to bring on our guest, Shawn Wickens, Wickens. It's kind of interesting. He's had a rough time during the pandemic. I don't think he caught COVID, but with the isolation and everything going on. And then he was just kind of saying, well, what do I do with myself? And he came up, he says, with 10 minutes of absolute golden stand-up comedy material and no place to do it. So what he's done is he's created a 10-minute show, live, I think it is, where he'll be performing this stand-up material and he's inviting people and I think there's a small fee to watch it. But anyway, he's publicizing it and he is going to be on the program shortly, Shawn Wickens. He will be talking, of course, to the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. Because Rabbi Saul does most of our interviews and he himself is a one-man show kind of person. He did Shalom Dammit, an evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon at the Richmond Shepherd Theater, at the Roy Arias Theater. He did it in Colorado and Boulder and lots of, so it's kind of great that we're gonna have two people in the biz, if you will, talking to each other on Dave's Gone By. And that's not the only thing we're doing on the show. We have our Today, Yesterday quiz, which is the weekly quiz that we do on not even current events. What would you call it? They're past events.
It's everything that happened on the day that today is.
Right. So since today is January 16th, these are events in history that happened on January 16th. There are 10 questions, and we ask our beloved panelist, David Sheward, and Leslie Hoban Blake should be with us as well. And we're going to invite Shawn to play also our Today, Yesterday quiz. And of course, you can kind of play against them at home. Plus, we have our Inside Broadway segment. And you're asking, well, what about Broadway? There's really nothing going on Broadway yet. True. But hey, we have some dead people to talk about. So I'll tell you about them on Inside Broadway. We have Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We love that one. We've been doing it for a few years. These are two different columns that come out of the Greeley Tribune newspaper in Colorado. And so we mix them together and we have fun with them. It's called Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. That's not a promise, that's a threat. Where we go to Cascade, Colorado, Cascade,
I put
Colorado.
this on, you're very
Oh, I forgot
orange.
the
You're very
light there, yeah.
orange. It's like Orange
Mm.
Town over there.
Give me some light, baby. There we go. That's a little better.
Too much?
No, I think you tell me. You're
Okay.
see if it gives me a little more
The
oomph.
watch party still won't let me invite people. It makes me so mad.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Oh, and since we do have Rabbi Sol on the program, Rabbi Sol Solomon, he has a brand new rabbinical reflection for us all. He wants to talk about, well, what's been going on with the election and the Capitol, and also the whole thing of Donald Trump being dropped from Twitter and Amazon and Google and YouTube and I'm sure Pornhub. I mean, just wherever Donald Trump is on the internet, they've dropped him. And Rabbi Saul wants to talk about that on his rabbinical reflections. So don't miss any of it. We're here from 9 until noon or thereabouts every Saturday on our Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. So there you go. There you go. Well, so hon, overall, how was your week?
It was good. I think it was a good week. You know, this semester started and I got everybody where they needed to be.
This is good.
I met with my advisee in Portugal. I mean, like my mentee, like it's funny. A lot of people have said that Zoom has helped like a lot. As long as you have Wi-Fi or hotspot, I have more contact with students and people in the academic community now.
Oh,
And
that's
I
interesting.
think it's because people can like, you know, for 2 hours I talked to my students and she's in Porto, you know, and we talked and like, you know, and it's great.
Yeah. I mean, because like back in the day, you wouldn't let me touch your hotspot until our 10th date, but you know. So is everybody, what is the deal over there? Because you teach over technically in Colorado, 2,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Is everybody teaching online? Is it hybrid? What are they doing there?
I think some people are teaching in person, probably like, you know, I always think of like nursing and some things you have to do like simulations on the mannequin or, you know, like some things you can't do on virtually. But I would say, I don't know, a lot of people are. And I think students, I mean, I know there's a lot of kickback where people say students don't like it, but I've literally advised every advisee virtually and talked to every, like, I have more direct contact with people. And in some ways, unless you have stuff going on in the background, you have more devoted time to the person because like in your office, someone's coming in, hey, David, you know, or, you know, there's always something. But on the Zoom, like even if they're on their phone in the yard, it's just you and them.
It's very, that's why people get, as you found out, Zoom fatigue. Because you're so like, everybody knows if you're kind of bored and checking your phone. Everybody knows if you're sort of checking out or doing two things. You can't do two things at once if you're in a conversation.
No, I like it. Yeah. It's really good. And you can share the screen, you can show people stuff. I think I mean, but I think you know, my prior colleague and we were encouraged when I first got to the university to convert online. So we have
no, you converted when we married. That was very nice of you. Yeah, but I'm on. Yeah.
But I do think that having like understanding Canvas and how to structure a course so students can find stuff, that's helpful. The people who really suffered were people who were teaching in person, never taught online and couldn't convert. They were like in a landslide. Yeah. So I feel like we had
But I think by this semester they should be getting a little more used to it than they were a semester ago when it happened in the middle of things, you know?
I forgot your background has so much stuff. I'm just looking at your part in the background.
Yeah, it's a little bit, it's like, it's a little bit more, you know. Yeah. But anywho.
How was your week? You were busy. Are you on level 3?
Oh God, please. Please. I even know I want to talk about this because it's my weekend and I want to get away from it. But well, I won't tell people exactly where I work, but I work in the school district on Long Island. And there's two things for which I am responsible, which I really should not even be responsible for. I took a civil service test just to get a job. And what was really, really nice is after I took the civil service test, this is like almost a year and a half ago now, or 2 years ago, I was from not being able to get just a job because I'm either too old or I'm underqualified or I'm overqualified or my skill sets are from 30 years ago or whatever it is. So I'm looking around, casting about for a job. I take a civil service test is a clerk typist, and I nail it, and I nail it really, really, really high. So I'm first on the list of pretty much everyone to when jobs come through. And suddenly I went from all my resumes to everywhere going in the garbage to 4, 5, 8 times a week getting letters from places saying, we're hiring, are you interested in this job? Are you interested? Fantastic. Right? I never felt so wanted in all my life, really. But at the same time, it was for pretty low level stuff, clerk typist level things. But it was nice to be asked. It was full-time jobs with benefits, and they were all in school districts. I was kind of hoping to work for like a government building or some waterworks thing, some state-related project. Everything was just school after school after school. It's all right, school's fine. I don't particularly like children. Don't want to be near children. And lucky me, I scored a place where I don't have to be near any children. It's fantastic. I just have like 4 coworkers, even before the pandemic. Yeah, really, even before the pandemic, it was just basically like this group of adults working together as a support staff. But I thought, okay, I'm going to be like secretary, essentially. I'm going to field phone calls, channel things like a file, type, do purchase orders, stock stuff when it needed to be, make coffee if I had stuff. So that a secretary does, right? And when the phone isn't ringing and there's nothing to do, sit there and read a book. No. No. So at my little, like clerk typist 1, okay? Somehow that also allows me to be a certified reporter for data going to New York State about the school. Somehow I'm paid $1,000 instead of the teachers who are paid $120,000, literally. And yet I'm the one that's like crunching the data.
You're Kafka. You're Kafka.
I am. I'm caught in the machine. Is it the trial or?
It's the Hollerith. You're the Hollerith machine.
Yeah. And what kills me is that I'm caught between 2 different machines. Because not only, put the baby, do the baby. So here's the remarkable thing about my job is that on one level, I'm not fully responsible, but I have to work every day, tiny violin, with a program called eSchool. And eSchool has to do with all the data of everything from student enrollment, from their grading, their report cards, from whether they're getting free and reduced price lunch if they're in poverty, if they're homeless, what classes they're taking, what time of day, what teacher.
New York City.
Well, no, this is just for our district. So, and I think there are other programs that other school districts use. We happen to use eSchool, which in some ways is very nice and yeah. And in some ways it's very logical and it's very cool and it's like it's amazing that it does all the things it does for like
David what he uses.
Oh right, yeah.
He's a teacher, so was Leslie.
Right. But I don't know when Leslie if they were even doing all of this that way.
I'm sure they always did it.
Yeah. But so I'm dealing with all that because I'm the one who has to run reports and crunch the numbers and input new teachers and get their staff IDs and make sure that coordinates over here and that the students are connected to the teachers. And it's a lot. It's a lot. But then that's one end of it. All the stuff that gets crunched into eSchool now has to come out in a very special way and go into this other thing called New York State reporting. And they have different levels of reporting. So you take the info, I hope this is interesting to you folks. Then you take this number stuff and then you load it into this New York State website, into the first level. And then when you do that and you run the report, the level spits out all these errors that you have to fix because you cannot send data up to New York State, up to old Governor Cuomo, that's wrong, that is incorrect. And you can't guess what.
Because he will come to your office and like smack you in the face.
Well, worse.
You bad PowerPoint. Look here.
If you send wrong data to New York State, Governor Cuomo will come to your house and will take anybody there over 75, put them in a nursing home, and give them a Chinese Wuhan ice cream cone.
Let me tell you, ever since he broke up with his live-in girlfriend, he's not been happy. You see him, he's a little bit.
Yeah, well.
He kicked her out. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, but everybody, because you know what? Because women, when he first started doing those daily reports on COVID,
yeah.
I'm sure women were throwing panties at him. They
Now-
loved him.
Yeah, now.
Well, no, even now, oh, he's so butch. He's so different from Trump because he speaks so well and so caringly.
Now you think that he thought he was going to get a better girlfriend, and
Yeah.
he's stuck, right?
That's right.
He thought he would trade up, and now he's alone.
You know, but so here's the deal. It's like you're not allowed, really not allowed, to send incorrect data to New York, knowingly to New York State. So what happens is you send the numbers into this website, it crunches them, and it says, you have to fix this errors before you do anything else. So you go back, and it's not like it's just a typo. These errors, they all have different codes, and they all have different reasons and rationales why they're wrong. And sometimes you have to call 5 different people to figure out why something's wrong and then re-input it back, not in the New York State website, but back in eSchool. So now you fix everything in eSchool again. You run the eSchool data, you send it up to New York State to level 0. And then level 0 spits back different errors. Because you fixed most of the ones that you thought you fixed. Some of them you thought you fixed, you didn't fix them right. And then it finds new ones to torture you with. And it's back and forth and back and forth until finally you get to this point when level 0 is clean. When you've uploaded all the data into New York State, and it's a beautiful site. You see the homepage of your place on this New York State site on level 0. And it's just 0 data, verification errors, 0 information or upload errors, boom, 0, 0, 0, 0. Beautiful, beautiful. This is now when you can send it from level 0 up to level 1.
Why don't you just have a party?
I feel like it. I have a party in my pants when I get that beautiful level 0 screen. And then we send up to like level 1. And this is where the people who are more local, not up in New York State, but just local folks that we hire to look at it. And then they find more errors. That's their job. Their job is to make, well, yes, it was all clean at this level, but then this level goes deeper and looks for bigger problems. Hey, that teacher is missing a staff ID. We don't have the salaries on those. And it's like, and then it goes all the way back to you.
It's what I call, David, it's what I do for my living, data cleaning.
It's horrible.
I know.
It's just, and it's like, I should be a computer a programming, logging tech person making twice what I make. But, I'm a clerk freaking typist. And all I remember about clerk typist before I became one was Tom Paxton used to tell a story in concert. The beloved Tom Paxton and friend of the Daverhood. He was a clerk typist in the Army. And it was just this, he'd sit there at a basic old pointy typewriter. And when he wasn't busy, which was most of the time, he just sat there writing songs that would eventually go on his early albums. So I think, okay, that will be my life. I will be here in front of now a computer, just type the letter. Okay, email the letter, CC the letter, file the letter, make a copy, and okay, I got 15 minutes free. Let's write something fun. Some very, very rarely. And I know your tax dollars pay me, so I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, hours go by and I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to music on YouTube. No, you are getting bang for your buck. If you live in the district where I work, I am severely underpaid and you're paying me very, very well for what I do, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, I'm not paying for this shit.
You love that.
I do this program basically for love, although we do have a sponsor. We do have, and I do want to let you, keep burping. Do want to let you know that Hewlett Minuteman Press are the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island. They are the place to go for everything that you need done to help your product or business. So we have Shawn Wickens coming up in just about 10 minutes. Wickens, W. Does Minuteman Press do anything with W's? They sure do. They do wedding accessories like attendance gifts and balloons, direction cards, guest books, ketubas. Do you need to refresh your ketubah from 30 years ago? They can do it. Memory books, lace cards, toasting glasses, and more. plus wedding invitations and enclosures and wedding programs. That is just the letter W of what Minuteman Press can do for you. And of course, it's a copy place. Of course, you can make single-sided, double-sided copies, color, black and white. You can do binding and printing. You can also put your logo or design on any kind of sporting good or pen and pencil or calendar or flyer or uniform. And they do silk screening. Minuteman Press can help you with so many things, and they do it well, reasonably priced, with pretty quick turnaround times, and they are great people to work with. I've known the Toron family for, oh my gosh, 30-something years now, and they've been running it since the mid-1970s. So why not give them a call? 516-569-5577, 516-569-5577. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy.
Pre-COVID, they would have given you a kiss. Now, no kiss.
Pre-COVID, they would hug you.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, they got a dog months ago, and they had to keep him in the store for like, so he was adorable, this big shaggy
Why?
lab. I don't know. They couldn't have him at home for whatever reason, so they had this dog.
Maybe a separation anxiety.
Oh, he was such a sweetie. So before COVID, you could let the dog lick you,
Oh.
or you could lick the dog if you had a private situation with the animal. So yeah, Hewlett Minuteman Press, do give them a call. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about before our guest gets here?
Guess what's coming up next week?
What's coming up next? Well, Martin Luther King Day.
And what else for you?
Oh yeah. I will pre-invite you to next week's episode. See, we're not even done with this week's show, but next Saturday, just doing our regular program, but Saturday will happen to be my 57th birthday. I can't even think. So yeah. I will be 57 years old on Saturday. So just, one of the things I most enjoy in my life is doing this program. So that's what I'm going to do on my birthday. And I don't know who the guest or guests will be, but if you want to send a present, or even better, just Zelle me some money. I'll leave my Chase account later. But yeah, be with us next week as I celebrate being Dave. I don't feel any different than I did when I was 55 or 50 or 45 even, really. Honestly, thank goodness. I still literally feel like me mentally. I'm still a 15-year-old, as all men are. I'm partially, I guess mostly deaf in one ear. That happened a couple of years ago. And I look back, oh my God, my friend in the Daverhood, Charlie Gross, he posted on Wiki, because he's home, he's during the pandemic, and he has had the time to go through archives and start digitizing them. He has co-hosted a theater review program called Two on the Aisle for many years now, probably about 30 years, doing Two on the Aisle. And you can still, well, up until COVID, you can watch it on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Now he's doing a different kind of critics show with our other friend, Leslie Hoban Blake, who will be with us in a little while. But Charlie's going back into the archives, and he put up an episode of Two on the Aisle from 1994, in which I am a guest critic along with Charlie and his co-host, our beloved Jeff Goodman. And it's just, so you think day to day, you look at yourself in the mirror, you look at yourself on video, I look all right, I look the same, I feel the same. And then I go back and look at myself 26 years ago, and like my hairline was here, it's just it's like you see, it's like I had hair, I had nice hair, and this was, I had a little like a Van Dyke beard, and it was all black, right? And I wasn't bad looking. I always thought I was an ugly son of a bitch, but I'm only a semi-ugly son of a bitch. Well, thank you. But she's paid to say that. No, I might be on a good day a little bit handsome. God knows I'm not sexy.
You're sexy.
Well, thank you, darling. But back then, it's funny. I would have thought of myself as ugly then. And I look at myself. We saw ourselves when we were young, and we're like, oh my God, I was cute. I was a bit of all right.
Would you date yourself?
Oh, date? Hell, I probably finger myself on the first date with a glove,
Oh
but So if you want to see that, I've actually shared that and reposted it on my my own Facebook page right here. But don't watch it now. Keep watching the show, because Shawn Wickens will be with us momentarily to talk to the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon. So there's that. But that kind of feeling of, oh my God, I'm 57 years old. I'm so far past middle age right now, because I'm not going to live to 114. I don't even know if I want to live to 114 when I realize that I'm going to crumble. Because when you're 15 years old, you figure, oh, I would love to live to 120. You know, I would love to be, sure, I'll slow down a little. I might walk a little more slowly and stoop a bit. You don't think, oh, if I'm 120 years old, I will be dead. Okay, I will be on my 8th set of teeth. I will have new hips that I would have been in the hospital for. I will probably have, nobody will want to deal with me. Nobody will want to listen to me. I'll be on some machine, you know, and getting doctor's appointments every other day. So it's like, there's that dream when you're young of thinking you will be a healthy 120 years old for the most part, just gray, just stooped and a little bit gray. Other than that, you feel, I'll be fine. And it doesn't work like that. So I'm shooting for 90. Don't think I'll make it, but I think, 90 would be nice. But a Jewish man who eats the way I do, 85 is realistic. I think I can manage 85, and give or take, considering the way I live and eat, I'll be healthy till 80. And then somewhere around 83, everything will start falling at you. I'll wake up in the morning and my liver will be on the side of the bed, and it'll be a perfectly healthy liver because I don't drink.
You'll be fine. I mean,
yeah.
Tell them the story about the when you woke up from anesthesia.
And yeah. Do tell.
So you had a Swedish anesthesiologist, yes. And he said, Mr. Lefkowitz, how are you? And you said, I love you. You look like B. Arthur. And and you were talking to him and you were making jokes, and
I was making jokes.
He said, "Oh my God!" And I said, "No, he's normally like
that." Yeah. He thought I was mistaking him for Beatrice Arthur.
You were still high on the anesthesia.
Not realizing that for that moment I gained some clarity, and I thought, my actual line was, I said, because I know I was waking up after surgery, and I was, am I in heaven? Are you Beatrice Arthur? Which would be my comical idea of the first face I would see in heaven. And then I would look down at my feet, and they put on these special blue footy booties that were on my feet instead of my shoes, or instead of barefoot or socks. I had special like canvas, I don't know what they're made of, like mesh blue footies. And I just wiggle my toes and look at them, and I'd be like, I think they're made of shame. Joyce says, I think they're made of shame. She's like, I'm like, blue footies. And that made me very, very happy. But it would have made me happy no matter what. That's the beautiful thing. It would have been like, even if I hadn't been coming out of anesthesia and kind of out of my mind, I still would have been like, oh, blue footies, all right, so let me make sure that I want to get ready now, because our guest should be coming soon. Oh, wow, perfect timing. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go get the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon. And while I'm doing that, why don't we have the actual show intro?
There goes the Daverhood. And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
Yeah, David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's gone by. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Shalom, shalom, damn it, my friends, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I am thrilled and delighted and excited to be talking to someone who also plows the one-man show field. Someone who also has obviously a really one. I got to talk to you about your beard. It's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about our guest in the Daverhood. His name is Shawn Wickens. Name like Shawn. I guess he's not Jewish, but he is. No, I did. It's getting there. He is the co-founder of the Bad Theater Festival. He's got a few CDs out of his comedy, including Silly Jokes at Sorry Open Mics. He is creator of comic strips as well, like Haiku Circus, and he podcasts just like I do. He's the co-founder of the Stoner Morning Show. And here's the deal. He's also created a podcasted live event thingy that you can tune into, for the best 10 minutes of my life. You can buy tickets at Eventbrite for that. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado or a don't, won't you welcome to the Daverhood, Shawn Wickens. Shalom, Shawn.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you? How's it going?
Great.
Good. All right, we're done. No, but so what is, first of all, tell us about your current, because I'm sure if we talk to you every 6 months, you have a completely different project to talk about. But this one is the best 10 minutes of my life. What were the best 10 minutes of your life? Tell us.
Well, in the best 10 minutes of my life is this 10-minute set of jokes that honestly came out of nowhere. I was sitting alone by myself this past October in my apartment in Hell's Kitchen here. And I, like a lot of creatives, was going through, why do I even do the things that I do? It's sort of pointless right now. Even putting effort into trying to write down funny things, it felt a little
Yeah, who's going to hear them? Why bother if it's topical? Forget by the time anybody could, exactly. But what happened?
So I must have been in the right zone, because I was just alone at night, and jokes started, premises, just, a lot of jokes are interesting observations on the world. I was struck with a few explosions of epiphany of, like, I've never thought of it this way. And everything that I thought up of in that night really fit together in a great 10-minute set. And I was like,
just quick, what drugs were you doing? Just so I can understand.
I might have been a little stoned. You know what I mean? It's
okay.
But it was, I mean, I'm sure that helped, but I think it was a lot of things. I think it was just sort of, me sort of wrestling with and accepting with that I didn't need to be creative in the moment. And
the moment you said that, you became creative.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. And I've shared with certain friends that it was like, I was in kind of a low place, or just like, I wasn't at my lowest, but I was just like an unfunny, unhappy place. And I think
you're not Jewish, right? See, if you were Jewish,
no,
you were used to that. This is me 363 days away in a low, unfunny, unhappy place. 2 days, Purim, and Rosh Hashanah. I'm like, the whole rest of the year. But not to. It's on your website, so I'm not saying anything that people won't.
Oh, sure,
but
sure.
you got dumped. Was that the deal? You broke up with your girlfriend or something, or she broke up with you, or what? She cut you with a razor, or so? What happened?
Well, yeah, we were quarantined down out of state for 4 months, and then the day we returned to New York, she informed me that she was moving out. So it was a pretty, it's not the worst thing that's happened. You just got to move on. It was unexpected, but in some ways it. Did
you have an inkling? Were you not getting, and you were like, oh, I wonder why she's still with me? Oh, she's not. Or was it a complete surprise?
It was not a complete surprise, but it was still. On the flight home, I planned on, I thought we were going to order Chinese food. This was my plan for the night. I thought we were going to order Chinese food, and I thought we were going to really have a heart-to-heart talk about where we wanted to go together and how we could fix what we were doing. which she had the talk before I did. But which is fine. But I really think I was in a place where my subconscious needed me to laugh. And so the best 10 minutes of my life really is sort of a representation of, I will have fun while I'm performing these 10 minutes. So in some ways, when you are seeing me perform these jokes that I didn't even try to write, I think the audience will be seeing me at my best, because it really did feel like a gift. The stuff that I thought of, because it was.
Now, is the performance itself 10 minutes, or are you couching 10 minutes in like 20 or half an hour and talking about it, or what is it exactly that people will be tuning in to see?
So I have a friend who will be hosting, and I'll have my friend Jay Cunis will be hosting, and we'll have. So I'm doing a 7, 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. performance. I might add a 10 and 11 p.m. If tickets start selling.
The late night shows are dirtier, I'm sure. The jokes, they just have more hooks in them, I think.
Probably.
Maybe not.
But I'll have a comedian friend to do 5 minutes up top, and then I'll come on and do 10 minutes, and then I'll hang out with friends afterwards. I'll do like a little mini Q&A, because I'm sure I'm going to see people that I haven't seen in a while. But it's me trying to hold on to a small piece of joy in a very rough year. So I'll be honest, I'm mostly doing this for me.
That's why every artist, hopefully, is doing something that is essentially for that. Even if they're paid like $3 million to write a screenplay, one hopes that a little kernel of what they're putting in there is like, this part is mine, So, but let me, in rehearsal, are you going to be off book? Are you going to be working from bullet point notes, or is it all going to be in here? Is it just impromptu? How are you working it? Because it's not done yet. I mean, you still have like a week or two before you actually do it.
Yeah. Well, I have done it once. So a week after I sort of, birthed this 10-minute set, I did do it at an outdoor show in front of the Brooklyn Museum. I did it for about 40 people. Ooh. And I had never rehearsed it. I had rehearsed it at home by myself. I had never rehearsed it in front of people. And it got a great reaction. People didn't believe me that it was the first time doing it live in front of people. And since I posted about the show that I'm doing at the end of this month, January 29th, Friday, I have done it on live for some friends. I've practiced it online. So it is, and everyone says it's very, I'm really hyping it up by saying it's the best 10 minutes of my life. I'm really hyping it up. I wouldn't say it's mind-blowing. It was definitely mind-blowing for me, but all of my friends said it's a very solid 10-minute set. And I have a good friend who said, Shawn, it is so you, which is interesting, because I wasn't even trying to come up with it.
Because if it was so me, I would sue you immediately. It better be so you. But that's the thing. Comics back in the day, back in the 50s and the 60s, to get 5 or 10 minutes, my God, of material that they could bring on like Ed Sullivan or something, it would take months, and they would work it and 2 o'clock in the morning at Catch a Rising or the Catskills, if not Catch a Rising Star. But you just sometimes you get it, it's there, you feel it. I am surprised you're waiting until January 29th, because I would be like you when it first hit me that night. I kind of want to just, because the fire. How are you going to keep the fire like almost a month after this whole came to you?
Well, it's I've still only performed it once in public, and I am very excited by it, and I have been sort of what do you call it, hyped up by friends who have seen it, who said like, this is really great. And I've had friends. I actually might have a corporate sponsor for this show.
Whoa! Who? Tell me right now. And how much money do they have?
Well, we haven't figured out the amount yet, but I'll just say it's a snack food company, a national snack food company, which is appropriate because I might have been, as I shared, a little stoned when I was coming up with this stuff. Yeah. But
now let me ask you, because we wanted to get sponsors for the things that I do and the thing that Dave, how did you find a snack food company that might throw you some money to do what you're doing? How? What did you just phone call? Like, hello, Doritos? What?
It was like a lot of things in life. It was just, you happened to know the right people. So it was a guy I grew up with who started his own company with his wife. So
And they make snack foods, or they're connected to a snack food emporium?
they do make snack foods, yeah. and seasonings, food seasonings, and some other things.
Oh, this is
So
good.
it was an offer from him. So it was
Well,
it
yeah.
was like the 10 minutes that just came to me. This corporate sponsor just came to me and said, we'll give you some money. We don't know yet how much, yet to be determined, but
That's fantastic. and in recompense, what would you do? Like, you're the MC of your show, the comic who goes on before you. Will they do
Yeah.
like a mini ad? Will they have a banner? What will they expect from you? Or are you gonna have to take your 10 minutes and make it like 11, and every punchline is gonna be, it's the season for this joke. I could go for a snack right now. How much are you going to bastardize and whore yourself out? I'm just wondering.
Well, so first I have an email address from everybody who's bought a ticket through Eventbrite. So I'm sure once they get instructions about how to log on to this virtual show, they'll get a little information with a link about the sponsor. The MC will definitely talk about it. It's a good idea having maybe a mini 10-second commercial in the middle. And then I'll definitely thank them after my 10 minutes. So it won't be, I feel like that's a good amount of.
Oh, can I ask, do you know if the snack food is kosher?
It is.
Yes!
It is.
Yes, damn it.
And I believe their warehouses are near Shaker Heights, Ohio, which is a very large
enclave.
Yeah.
I may watch your show just to see who the sponsor is, and then show up at their door and beg. I'll say, here, just throw some kesef in here. Just keep tossing coins in here. That's right.
Yeah.
But no, please.
Can I share with you one of the best things an older Jewish gentleman has said to me?
Yes, you may.
I was talking to a friend of a friend, man in his 80s, Upper West Side gentleman, and somehow the topic of suicide came up. Somebody in the news came, someone notable had committed suicide, and he said, "I'd rather suffer."
That is so Jewish. I love it. I'd rather suffer.
It's one of the best things I've ever heard.
I want that on my tombstone. I really do. That, and depending on how much money they give, the name of the snack food company.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd rather suffer, brought to you by Drake's Devil Dogs. There you go.
It is a good name for a show. Yeah, it is a good name for a show. And I'm not Jewish, but I do. When I heard him say that, I felt very connected to that. I was like, yeah, I too would rather suffer. So I have at least that.
Well, speaking of suffering, when did you realize you wanted to be in the arts and a comedian and all that?
I think it was, I was very shy in high school. First of all, I drew incessantly when I was a kid. So I thought I might be, and my mother was an artist as well. So I thought I might be, a graphic artist. And then when I got to high school, I found a lot of funny friends. And, a lot of times people ask like, oh, who are your comedian heroes? Honestly, a lot of it was like just funny people that I had around me. I loved having funny friends around. So I was very shy in high school, but I joined the stage crew just so I could get close to the stage. And I told my parents, I said, I think I want to go to art school. And they're like, you're not going to go to art school. But when I went to college, I was seeking out, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be an accountant or a psychologist. I was seeking out all of the art classes. I was, trying to get a radio show and.
Don't do it. Don't bother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally, and there was a Second City Theater there that only lasted for 3 years. And I saw a show there and I hated it. I thought it was not funny. I thought it was not ready for the stage, but I wanted to do it, so I took writing classes through there, and I've been creative ever since. I was probably creative before I realized I was creative, though.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Second City because you did end up taking a lot of improv classes and things like. Can I ask, what did you learn from studying improvisation besides always saying yes?
Sure. So the biggest takeaway that I got, not really from classes, but from the actual performing of improv, is that if you either have to be enjoying yourself on stage or you have to be enjoying the people who are on stage with you. And if either of these things aren't happening, you're not going to have a good show. The ensemble might still have a good show, but if you're not having fun, and it's, everyone has an off night, you know what I mean? If you're not feeling well, if you feel like you're not contributing to the performance, you should at least enjoy who you're on stage with. They should be.
By the way, I have another title for you. Here's my other title that you're welcome to steal. Quote, "My whole life is an off night." Isn't that what my whole life is an off night? That's me. That's me right over right there. Let me tell you.
Very self-deprecating, which I enjoy.
So, were you doing more along the lines of when doing that improv stuff? Was it closer to like TJ and Dave, or was it more like Whose Line Is It Anyway, or a mix of both? Long form, short form, going for the joke, or going for the reality? What kind of stuff did you do?
It was mostly long form, and the bulk of my improv experience was on a group called Junior Varsity at the Magnet Theater. We were around for, I think, 11 years, which is pretty insane time. And were we going for the reality or for the joke? We were a very quick team. It felt like we were always going for the joke, but I think in truth we were really going for, because we got along a lot and we went on the road quite a bit. We always had fun on road trips. I think we were really enjoying each other. And I think that was the secret ingredient for that group.
That is that is one. So when you started creating your own material, not just improv and something comes to you and it's wonderful and hilarious. Is there a joke that you wrote early on? They're like, oh, this is really funny and this is really me and I'm on the path now. I know you can't really tell a joke from that, but was there some moment that came to you, and what was it about?
One of the first jokes which I tell people, there was a point where I thought I could not write jokes. I thought I was an improviser. I thought I could be funny in the moment. I just thought writing jokes was something that I wasn't able to do. So how I got started doing stand-up was I was asked to put together a one-person show. Somebody sort of like challenged me, a friend challenged me. He's like, why don't you do a one-person show? So I started going to open mics, just practicing stories. And so in rehearsing funny stories on stage and having an improv background where I was somewhat able to pivot in the moment and find something that made it funnier live on the spot in front of the audience, I was, punching things up. I put myself in a position where somehow I started editing stories down in my mind into just jokes. I would think of a funny story and I was like, this is too long. So I would take a lot of the unnecessary stuff out of it. And I realized that I created a joke that way. So I'll tell you one of the first jokes that I created that came out of a story.
Yeah, please.
And it's that I don't practice meditation, even though I know it's a very positive things people talk about doing. So I don't practice meditation, but I do visualize myself telling people how much meditation has changed my life. Which is kind of the same thing,
It's very funny. That is very good.
Yeah, thank you. And that came out of that came out of a story or a want of wanting to talk about on stage how I wish I meditated more than I do.
Right. So you crunched that all down. And now, right now, do you do a mix of that? Do you still tell the stories and then balance that with a very short joke, and then, or is it all joke? Because your style would be now.
I think so. There's definitely every comedian I feel is on a spectrum between joke teller and storyteller. I think Stephen Wright only tells jokes.
He's just joke. But yeah, he's brilliant. He's magnificent.
Yeah. And then Mike Birbiglia only tells stories, kind of. Maybe sneaking some jokes in there here and there. But there's a great quote from Richard Pryor who said, well, I'll just paraphrase everything. I'm not going to be able to quote it. But he said he started out as a joke teller and became a storyteller. And he said later on in his career, like in his 80s, in the 80s, in his heyday, he said that, I'm going to make you laugh, but I'm going to need you to listen to me for 3 or 4 minutes first. So he turned into a storyteller, he says.
I like that. I like the second. I like the feel of that. And that whole thing of being, I'm on the spectrum, but it's a whole different spectrum. But in terms of being the spectrum between just telling amusing stories with a punchy joke here and there versus, Rodney versus, the Borscht Belt, like boom, 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 ta,
Yeah.
Which I love. I love them both. I'm not denigrating one.
Oh, definitely.
Raising one over the other. Let me ask you in terms of, because we've been talking about all your creative life, but you also, you said you live in Hell's Kitchen, you live in New York.
Yeah.
You got to support yourself somehow. And
Right.
you're still waiting for that snack food money to come in. So you've had day jobs and jobs. Did you work at Troma Films?
I did, yeah. I had a very short internship there.
So they didn't have to pay them. Of course they weren't paying you, yeah.
No,
What did you do there? How was it? Because it's funny, Dave, who hosts this show, and his wife just saw the musical version of The Toxic Avenger, which was a lot of fun. But
I have seen that as well. I saw that here in New York.
Very cute. But tell me, what was it like actually working for? What was the guy's name at Troma? I forget.
Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hers. So I grew up liking Troma films. I grew up liking John Waters films. I like a lot of just sort of trashy cinema, but also like great form. I love any Pedro Moldovar movie. You know what I mean? I'm all over the place but I got an internship at Troma and I was very excited. I thought it would lead to maybe some video editing jobs, maybe some script, punching up jobs. But I got hired as they had finished selling off the building that they had here in Hell's Kitchen, and they were moving to a Queens location. So my internship was packing up boxes, which I was happy to do. You know what I mean? I would have liked something more substantial, but in some ways it is the perfect Troma story. And the weird epilogue to it is that years later, that office that they used to own, office building, it's been turned into apartments.
Okay, yeah.
And it's on 53rd and 9th or something like that. Years later, I had a friend who got an apartment, like it's a rent stabilized apartment. He was very excited and he asked me to help him move in. And as I was carrying boxes into this building, I realized the last time I was there, I was carrying boxes out of it. He moved into the Troma office.
Wow. That's such a New Yorkie story. So let me ask you just between you and me, because nobody watches this program. When you were moving stuff out of Troma, did you nip any souvenirs? Did you take any little bits of Troma? Oh, I think you're grabbing something.
I actually
a gift and not yourself. So, by the way, we're talking with Shawn Wickens.
You know what? It's
yeah.
I can't. It's being used at the moment. So
I see an umbrella.
You might be able to see. I have a power strip that says Troma on it. Can you see that?
I see it. Yeah. Wow, an actual Troma power strip.
Yeah. And I was told that was used on set. That it was used in productions for, not for big lights, of course, but for small,
Okay, that's a story. There you go. So let me ask, did you have any other media-related internships or jobs?
Yeah, a ton. I worked for a guy in college who was trying to start a 24-hour cable channel of dogs called the Puppy Channel. And he was a retired ad man, and this was his and his wife's just sort of like new hobby after he retired and sold his advertising company.
Yeah,
And
he had the so wanted to be the next Ted Turner, but
right.
well, what happened?
I think he ran out of money. He didn't find any investors, but there are, he was ahead of the curve. I'm sure you can go on YouTube and find a live feed of just puppy videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but starting a TV channel just about dogs, that's a bitch. Yeah, that's a little humid. So where else? What are been some of your other jobs of any kind where you have cute story, or it's just like, yes, I did this in my life and brought me to this place?
The longest running New York City job I had was I was a New York City window cleaner, a residential window cleaner.
Did you have to go up on the thing, on the lift thing?
We never did scaffolding work. It was always inside people's apartments. It was residential stuff. So, the windows would tilt in, but a lot of times we were climbing out onto a balcony or the side of the building with a harness strapped to us.
Yeah.
And
did you ever have a close scrape, a hook on hook, the thing, or you were always
never outside of a building, but there was a time where we had a window open, and it was, in a 100-year building. The window frame itself was probably 50 pounds. It was a huge window, and the balances snapped, and the window shot down, and I would have lost a finger.
Or your puckle if you were naked. Yeah, this is a
so it did catch me on the tip of my finger. It was pretty bad for a while, but my boss was like, you would have lost a hand if you didn't pull that out in time. Like, windows are that heavy, and
Well, did you get workman's comp? Did you sue the city or the building, or you just like went home with a Band-Aid and went back to work?
Well, my boss said to the client, we're leaving and we're never coming to this job again, because he had for years told them they need to repair their windows. And he made them pay for the job, which we didn't finish, and he made them tip me very well.
Give me a finger tip. That would have been better than that tip. I'm telling you.
I didn't get enough.
I gotta know. I got window washer. I know these were corporate buildings. You ever catch anybody naked or stooping?
Not stooping, but I've seen naked people across the street from,
Yeah.
You don't have to be a window cleaner to see naked people in their apartments. I mean, if you walk around the city looking up, eventually you'll see flashes.
But I always see the old naked men. This is not what I really want to see. Yeah, I'm always looking at the wrong moment. The hot young girl steps away from the window, and in comes, the guy who looks like Danny DeVito. I'm like, no, God damn it, no! Barely had my hand in my pants long enough. Anyway,
it's still a story. It's still a story, and we both would rather suffer. So what's the problem with it? You know what I mean?
So are you able now to what is your day job? Or are you thoroughly a creative person 24/7 when you're not sleeping?
Well, right now I'm thoroughly a creative person because I'm pretty underemployed at the moment. Which is, I'm trying to take it as a blessing, even though you can't help but feel shame for being underemployed living in New York City. But
even during the pandemic, to be under them,
Yeah.
And let's understand also, and you are not, with all respect, you're not 20. Okay.
No.
How old are you? You're 30 something, maybe 40.
No, I'm 44.
You're 44. My God,
Yeah.
you're good looking 44, but you're not 24.
No.
So you're already outside from the economy. You are already a burden on America. Swear to God. I know where Rabbi spent. I'm a rabbi. I mean, I live off scraps, but Dave, who runs this program, he knows there's a certain age where you one gray hair, and it's like, you want a job? Okay, there's a McDonald's. I'm telling you. What were you doing besides being a window washer, by the way? You mentioned that was the longest, but what were some of the others?
I've taught theater. I used to teach public speaking in the corporate level.
Boy, that's good. Why did you give those teaching theater and teaching how to speak public? That seems like a perfect fit. How come you're not? Or did that stop with the pandemic, or did that stop before then?
No, those stopped before, and they both stopped because the people I was working for closed the companies.
I know. Where were you teaching theater then? What closed that you were teaching theater for?
It was a nonprofits organization in Jersey City called the Jersey City Children's Theater. And they'd been around for 20, 30 years. But
Well, you know what? The children grew up. They really should have gotten new children because they were teaching them, all right, everybody in a circle. We're going to do a counting game. And then these people are now 45. It's not working.
Yeah. What also happened was their main benefactor, Mike Nichols, passed away and left no information about how to continue distributing money to the organization. I don't know if I was allowed to say that, but I never signed an NDA. But
Diane Sawyer, if you're listening,
Yeah, right.
get on there, get that Jersey Children's Theater back. By the way, we're talking with the very, very entertaining and charming Shawn Wickens, and it's Wickens. So if you're looking for him and you want to watch his upcoming live I don't even know what do you call it? There's a live performance. Podcast video cast performance, the best 10 minutes of my life.
Definitely the computer's fault.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
You do your thing, I'll do mine. I want to let you know that it's starting on January 29th. So it's just a week or so away, and you can buy tickets to it at Eventbrite. This is a call to arms, because you just saw his arm. EVENTBRITE for tickets for this material that he crafted, that now he's not just doing it for the first time. He did it live in public. He's rehearsed it a few times. He's going to keep working on it for the next week. And by the time you get to see it, it will be the best 10 minutes of your life from Shawn Wickens. We have so much more to talk about and ask him about when he comes back. I think what he's checking on, and one of the things that we wanted to ask him about. Are you there? Hello, shalom. You back? Everything good?
Yeah. The live streaming show I co-host, Stoner Morning Show. They had trouble going live, so I had to Zoom from my other computer I was doing technical work for another show while I was on your show.
Yeah, but it's true. You are competition. I shouldn't even go here, but I'm gonna give you a plug here. So, how did you end up co-hosting? And by the way, thank you also for taking the time out of your program to do my program. You should simulcast it and give me some new viewers. I would like that.
I should have. I didn't think of it. Yeah, but there's other hosts. They got it covered.
So good. Oh, by the way, I'm also I'm going to stay for the quiz. Can you stay for the trivia quiz that will be happening about 15 minutes or so?
I should leave before then, but I would love to. I can't. But yeah.
Well, so is that a yes or a no? What the hell?
That's a no.
That's a no.
Reluctant no. Yeah.
All right, stuck you. But anyway, tell us about this other podcast that you're involved in called the Stoner. Where is it? I lost it. It's this. Where the hell is it? The Stoner Morning Show. There it is.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
That came about. It sounds like a very dumb idea, which it is, but it came about through a lot of like comedy theory in some ways. So I told you that I taught improv and I've taught stand-up and stuff. One of the exercises that I came up with, I believe I came up with it. I feel like it's so brilliant in ways I thought I had to have taken this from somewhere. But I'd work with a lot of groups, performance groups, to coach them. You know what I mean? I taught beginners, but I also worked with, intermediate and higher levels, coaching their group, getting their show up to form for when they perform live. And if I saw a group having trouble getting along and enjoying people, I would ask them to do this exercise where I would have them play characters. Like, you're a cowboy and you're an accountant. We're going to see a scene between a cowboy and an accountant, but I want you to act stoned in the scene. I want you to be like a stereotypical stoner character. I don't want to see you smoking in the scene. I just want to see you acting like, a Matthew McConaughey or a Cheech and Chong or whatever, but playing those characters. And people automatically would yes and by doing that. There was something about the stoner mentality that I feel like is a great conductor for comedy, because you're not worried about conflict. You're just like, everything is silly to you. And so for years I was like, I have to come up with a show about stoners, because in some ways they can create comedy magic without even trying to say yes and. So sometimes stoners just say whoa, and that's enough of a thing instead of yes and,
But and the thing is, I guess it's the relaxation. It's kind of like I'm just going to
Sure.
go with it. There's no, the filters are down, which is an important thing
Yeah.
in comedy. So
Right.
and so, how long ago did you start this program, the Stoner Morning Show?
So my friend and I, Lex Morales, he and I were doing stand-up shows on the road, and we were always trying to come up with another thing that we could create. And he wanted to do a podcast while we were drinking. Like, and it was a good idea, but there were so many drinking live comedy shows in the city already.
There's
It was
drunk
like
history,
Shaker.
even on one of the channels they had. Yeah.
And I also said, and he smoked weed and I smoked weed, and I was like, that's not us. I was like, we should do something. I've always had stoners in the back of my mind. I was like, we should do something, a podcast of stoners. And then my favorite comedy, especially for live improv, my favorite comedy is when the performers show the audience something very familiar, and then they find something to tweak within that reality. A lot of times people will lead with funny ideas, which is sometimes good, but I love when it's set up as like an ordinary thing, like this is a husband and wife making breakfast for their kids, and then there's like one weird thing that's off. And to me, the weird thing for this idea is that it's a morning show, but it's hosted by stoners. That's the off thing. And
do you actually generally do it where you're all buzzed, or you fake it? You kind of have the attitude and the feeling like in improv, or do you go on there and you've already had like a joint?
We've done both.
Which is better? Which works better? Or are they the same?
Both are fine. It's fine to play. You would think like being stoned would produce the better effect than playing stoned, but sometimes you can get too stoned, and that's a problem, and you forget to do the show.
That may be your best line of the afternoon. That was very good.
You forget that you're on, you're in front of an audience. But it's, because sometimes we've done it live and we have to respect the venue's wishes. It's like, we don't really want stoned people performing. You could play stoners. It's like, all right, we'll play stoners. But we have to have that mindset of like, we're enjoying each other and enjoying the audience. If we're in our minds about how well the show is going, and if it's not going well and we're like upset about that in the moment, the rest of the show is going to be bad. Just enjoy.
Yeah. Let me ask you, I want to tell people, even though we don't, by the way, do you archive your programs? Are they watchable after the fact or only live?
So Stoner Morning Show goes out Saturday mornings at 10 on Facebook Live or YouTube, and then they're archived there as well. So you can watch.
Because we don't want people turning to your show during this program, Dave's Gone By. However, where can they watch the show, your show, after it's done? On Facebook Live, what is the Facebook page where people can go?
It's facebook.com/Stoner Morning Show.
Stoner Morning Show. That is Stoner Morning Show. And you also post them on YouTube as well, you said, yes?
That's right, yeah.
Cool. So, and what is it? Stoner Morning Show on YouTube is
Correct.
So check that out. Again, don't check it out now. Don't leave me and Dave. But afterwards, sometime this afternoon, maybe this evening, go check out Stoner Morning Show. And also, everybody, we have one more question before I let you go. But we want to remind people one more time that you can watch Shawn Wickens' The Best 10 Minutes of My Life. Get your tickets at Eventbrite, Eventbrite. It starts on January 29th. They're doing like 4 or 5 live performances that same night.
Correct.
Right? So let me ask you, because I haven't even gotten to this, but it's so exciting to me that you co-founded the Bad Theater Festival. Well, tell me everything about this, please.
So we started this in 2012. My friend Star Kendall and I, who we actually met in an improv class years ago. But it really came from the belief that if you are trying too hard to be good, you might step on your own creation in a way. It's sort of like, take a step back from it needing to be perfect. We're not really telling people to do shitty theater. It's just like just do some theater and not worry about it so much. And the gift of it we've found is that audiences will come in with their expectations lowered. and then they walk away like, pretty impressed a lot of times. I mean, people have walked out in the middle of shows, definitely, but what show hasn't that happened in? Every Broadway show that has been on Broadway, somebody has walked out of it, you know what I mean?
But let me, are they one-act plays, or are there any full-length things, or what is a mix?
It's usually very short things. We try to do like a max of 25 minutes just to sort of, if it was all 2-hour shows, it would be less of a festival and more of a showcase. So if you come to Bad Theater Fest, you'll see like 4 or 5 short things. In our minds, that's more of like a kind of like a communal festival thing. And but it's we've had plays that were like a minute long.
That's like too much light out in Chicago and
Yeah.
New York too. But
Oh, yeah.
wait a minute, so what is? So our audience is only disappointed when they're bored. If the show turns out to be really good, they're like, yeah. If it's really bad, they expect it and it's campy and it's fun. But it's that middle ground where it's like, is that how it goes?
It's stuff that you don't expect. It's like, so you might go to it thinking it's all going to be funny, but there's like serious pieces in there, and there's like sort of like esoteric, like what does this mean type of things, So we found out from doing the festival that every show needs an introduction. Like you need to like at least tease the audience of like what they're about to see, because one of the examples, one of the more glaring ones, was that we had some clowns, mimes, do a like 5-minute retelling of like Mommy Dearest or something, like one of those old, and I was like, well, we should introduce it as such. And the performers were like, no, the audience will get it. And the audience was confused and they didn't know what they were seeing, and they weren't able to decipher that it was a like homage.
That's bad theater right there. I mean, that's what the title is. So are you planning for a 2021 or a 2022 revamp of the Bad Theater Festival, or?
We're taking submissions now through badtheaterfest.com. If you want to submit any, a live readings, any streamable performance, it's just $1 entry fee. We're taking submissions through the end of January, and then we're going to put up 3 nights of shows at the end of February.
Online. These are
Online, yeah.
I had a quick question that I couldn't hear from the gallery.
Yes.
Well, I mean, for the people who submit, know they're submitting to a Bad Theater Festival. Do they understand the ethos that it's just about letting go and being free, or are some intentionally creating bad shows, or do some think they're good and they're just happy to get their shows done somewhere?
Yeah, it's all of the above. We've definitely had people who have written bad things just for us, like somebody did a spoof of, I think, Death of a Salesman, but all of the performers were farting. They had somebody in the sound booth with fart noises. It's like Death of a Farting Salesman or something like that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And I mean, we've had things that turned out more offensive than we expected.
Oh,
We've
good.
had to apologize to the audience before.
Like what? Like what? What's the most offensive thing they did? You gotta tell me.
Somebody did. So they said it was satire, but it was a lot of like. It was a play trying to be anti-racist by being racist and homophobic, and it did not work. And luckily we had it. That was the one year where we tried, like, we told people we were going to do like a late night dirty midnight show, but that was too much. The show stopped. There were only 3 people in the audience, and it turned into, in some ways it was a beautiful illustration of theater, because the show stopped and it turned into a debate between the audience and the performers about what was offensive or not. Like, so if you were there to watch that,
The actors put down the watermelons, and
Right.
they took the fried chicken off to the side.
Yeah. Oh, and the performers have eventually apologized at the end. And they said that they realized that this was the wrong thing to do, but it was after some people had already left, so the people who needed to hear the apology didn't hear
They were ready. What about the author? Was the author like proud? Did the author realize, or did the author not
The author is the one who apologized. The author performer.
Oh God! Wow! Oh, what a story, ladies and gentlemen. We have been talking with the lovely Shawn Wickens. I wish you could stay and play the trivia game, but I know you have to go and do your other show, which is the Stoner Morning Show, which everybody who's watching this program can go watch later in the day over at Stoner Morning Show, either on Facebook or YouTube. And of course, make sure, by the way, do you have a website with your name on it for all your stuff? What is it, ShawnWickens.com?
ShawnWickens.com, SHAWN, yes.
SHAWNWICKENS, ShawnWickens.com for everything that he's doing. And of course, you're going to want to check out the best 10 minutes of my life on January 29th. Tickets are at Eventbrite, and find out more about it at ShawnWickens.com. Shawn Wickens, it just remains for me to say thank you so much for taking this time on a Shabbos morning. I wish you much success with that show. And the name of that snack company again is...
I'll as soon as I get the check, I'll let you know. Yeah.
This is Jews making money, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom, Shawn. Have a great 2021.
You are the best rabbi in the world. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye. I need you to leave, or I need you to, there you go. Bye-bye. And I've got to say bye-bye to you because Dave is coming back with the Today, Yesterday quiz and so much more to do on Dave's Gone By. I will be back in the program doing my rabbinical reflection on all the Narishkeit going on in America. You don't want to miss that. So this is Rabbi Sal Solomon saying Shalom Uvracha from every one of me to every one of you. Oh, there's nobody quite like Rabbi Sal Solomon. Thank goodness for that. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebook.
Somebody asked, was the rabbi high on Manischewitz? Does he do like a 10 minutes on Manischewitz?
But actually, the weird part of the rabbi is he gets high on borscht. It's frightening. Anyway, I get high on seeing friends like David Sheward in the Daverhood. David Sheward is a longtime theater critic, theater writer, and journalist. He's also an educator now, but we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about his writing for the David Desk blog, culturalweekly.com, and theaterlife.com. Took a few weeks, but I finally got them all. Didn't I, Dave?
Yes.
Looking good, Dave. Your hair's growing in. You look, I like the lighting. You look really good. Not that you don't always, but how are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Good. We're hoping, I'm expecting that we will have our third. Yeah, unfortunately, Rabbi Saul was talking to comedian Shawn Wickens before, but he could not stay because he has another podcast to go to. But we're assuming that if she reads, I don't know what happened. Oh, there it is. Let's see if we got a message. No. I am assuming that Leslie Hoban Blake will be joining us.
Okay.
I texted her and reminded her we're doing this one a little bit early.
A little early, yes.
I imagine she may not have remembered that, so she may join us a half hour late. But either way. So what was your week like in the world, David Sheward?
Oh, well, a couple of things. Let's see. I got the vaccine yesterday.
How do you feel?
I feel my arm is still sore, and I sneezed a few times yesterday and felt a little tired, but I'm fine today. It's still sore, my arm.
Oh.
But
how was it going? Was it a big needle, a small needle? How long did it take?
I didn't look. I've always had a fear of needles ever since I was a child, and the nurse distracted me, fortunately, so it felt really like it was going in really deep for a minute.
Yeah.
And I saw the little refrigerator also in the room where they were keeping the dosage.
Whoa.
But it went by really quickly, and within a minute of having gotten the injection, I got a ding on my phone saying you can schedule your second dose also.
Oh, wow. So, and you have, and you are?
I've scheduled it. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. I hope they don't run out of stuff. That's what I've been hearing in the news.
As well, I imagine it'll be quicker to run out of the first dose because so many more people. A lot of people are going to stop
Well,
after that first one. I'm sure.
Well, you heard that there was supposed to be a reserve of second doses, and this baboon Azar said, "Oh, everything's fine." The Secretary of Health and Human Services, under the vile, awful, criminal Trump administration, said, "Oh, everything's fine. We're going to roll this out. It's just going to be getting like the flu vaccines. Nothing's wrong." And it turns out they had there was no reserve, or they used it all up.
Wow. All right. But
So that's just another thing to add to the list
why it's going to be
of why Donald Trump is the worst president we have ever had, and he deserved to be impeached a second time.
which he was. But what about? Are they going to remove him from office after he's out of office?
Well, here's the whole deal. Granny McConnell, as I like to call him, because he looks like Irene Ryan on the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yes.
Is not going to reconvene the Senate until after the inauguration.
Yeah.
We could do a whole show on this. So Trump will be out of office when they have the trial. And there is a precedent for this. In 1870 something, Ulysses S. Grant's Secretary of War, now it's called Secretary of Defense, but the Secretary of War, William Belknap, was incredibly corrupt. And he was just before he got impeached on 5 counts of corruption by the House rather, he resigned. So he was out of office, but they went ahead and did it anyway. So and they had a trial. He was acquitted they had a majority of votes, but not 2/3. Long story short, Trump they can have the trial. And the point of it would be, yes, he's out of office, but the point of it would be they can then say, okay, now that if they convict, then they can say this person who was convicted can never run for high office again. So there's a little bit of calculation there among the Republicans,
What? The thing is, though, I would figure that I would wait for New York State to get him on legitimate fraud, financial.
Why not both?
Well, yeah, because
You can do both.
Because everything else is kind of opinion. If you're impeaching him, I have some issues with impeaching him about his speech and inciting the riot. And so does Rabbi Saul. Rabbi Saul will be doing a rabbinical reflection about this later on in the program.
Well, go on. Go ahead.
No, I'll let the rabbi talk for this because this is a political show, but it's not that political. But but I think it can. If he was inciting to riot, how come only 70 people ran into the hall and there were thousands and thousands of people who just came there to
There
look?
were more than 70 people in the hall.
How many literally broke in?
I didn't count them, but have you watched the footage?
No,
There were thousands of people
wow.
pushing down against the police. The police were outnumbered 6-1, and if they had gotten in, they were saying, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence." They were saying that.
All right. You
didn't hear this?
Trump wasn't saying that.
He was saying, well, he's also perpetuated the lie that he lost the election.
True, absolutely true. Which is a lie.
And he called the Georgia Secretary of State and asked him to find votes. That's all part of the indictment, saying all of this behavior was saying and he said out on Twitter, "Come to Washington. It's going to be wild." What did he think?
One, but yeah. I mean,
what did he think? What did he think? And the question is, what did he think was going to happen? What did he want them to do?
I think he wanted them to stand in the streets and scream and shout and wave their signs and be
With the result of what? Intimidation.
Like everything. What was BLM? Even before those turned violent.
They weren't talking about overturning the government.
No, we're talking about defunding, stopping the police force, which is
that's not the whole message.
No, not the whole. Well, Trump's whole message.
There were advocates. This is the whole thing. There were advocates of Black Lives Matter who were saying get rid of the police altogether, not just take away their money. But
which is crazy.
There were some. But that's whataboutism. This is more about it. It's it is
whataboutism, but it's what about when the Black Lives Matter stuff was going on and it was turning into riots, right? So peaceful demonstrations. I'm sorry. We'll get to we're waiting for Leslie too. But you know, when the people, you know, they start peaceful, they start very, very well intentioned, and then businesses were getting smashed up. Do you hold AOC accountable? Do you hold other politicians accountable for what they said to ratchet up those protests that happened to turn violent because some idiots infiltrated it and made it violent at the end?
Well, you can't, this is also, but that did not result in a breaching of the Capitol.
No, okay.
That did not result in an insurrection against our government.
True.
This is, you know, we can just, I mean, you can't really say, oh, just because you didn't have an indictment against Maxine Waters or something, who, you know, that her words could be, I mean, she did not say, you know, because Whitey is so bad, why don't you loot his stores? Trump said this, he said things like, if you don't fight, we're not going to have a government. He said things like,
I don't think he meant fight like this. I mean, like fight for your right to party, you know.
He was saying, there's a text from Leslie saying, trying to get on. And I see,
which is great, I see a blank screen. Leslie's, here she is. So blank screens matter.
Well,
Leslie, we see her. Oh, Leslie, good. You're stepping into a political, not a little mini argument that I'm having, but we're going to get to this quiz now that you're here.
What's the argument? I can solve it, whatever it is.
Okay, sure.
For sure. You know, I've always been on some level a little bit defending Donald Trump, and David is like, "You're kidding. He's the worst president ever." And I'm like,
he is.
I'm sorry, my mouth is falling open and I'm about to hang up on you. I'm going to go away. I really, if it's about Jerusalem, it's, you know, that old thing about, is it good for the Jews? My grandmother used to say, my father's mother, who was a little Russian Jewish lady, used to say, it's always good for the Jews. And so on that level, evidently moving the capital of Israel to Jerusalem was a good thing. Name me one more thing he did that was any good for anybody besides himself.
Well, that's not what we're talking about. As Viola Davis said in Fences, we ain't talking about playing baseball. We ain't talking about playing baseball. We talking about you laying up with another woman and bringing it home to me.
That's some cultural appropriation right there, David.
Whatever that means, Dave. Yes, you be careful, David.
Every black person watching this show right now is more angry at you for what you just. No, I'm kidding.
What did I? What? I'm just quoting. I'm just quoting August Wilson
in a black sort of way. Yeah, I know. I'm
you guys can fight about anything. You're wonderful. Well, I miss you.
Thank you.
I am sorry about. Oh, you know what? I didn't put my light on. That's what's wrong. Never mind. Hang on.
By the way, this is Leslie Hoban Blake. She is.
It's what's left of Leslie Hoban Blake. There's not much of me anymore.
Hey, looking good. I like that sweater.
It's not a sweater. It's pajamas. These are my pajamas.
You didn't have to tell us that, but now it's you. And David, are you a football fan, or is that
my pajamas and my pores? Both of those you can see.
Are you a football fan? Oh no, it looks like a football jersey. I couldn't.
No, it's just
it's little dainty flowers. Right. Oh, you. I'm sorry, not me.
Yeah. Leslie, by the way, is the co-host of a show called Critic Circle that we were talking with Charlie Gross about Charlie Gross a little while ago, and saying that
Charlie sent that thing. David, you have to see this. Charles sent in 1994.
I
know. Did you get to see it?
I saw it. I'm
talking to David Sheward. Hair. They had hair. Did Charles Gross look like Seinfeld? I did not know Charles Gross. I knew David.
I saw the picture. I didn't see the video clip.
Oh, yeah,
when they're actually talking, Charlie Gross looks and reminds me of Seinfeld.
Oh.
And this one I knew then. We had traveled to Europe already by then.
Wow.
In '94, we'd gone to Paris already. Joyce, you know, we'd all gone.
But look at what happened to me.
I know. My father had hair that grew up to here. Remember those old people's haircuts that grew way up high? My father had hair like that, and by the time he was 35, he was bald as an egg. So
yeah, it took me until about my 40s until this happened, but it happened. But anyway, so I wasn't really going to do any politics. We're here for the Today Yesterday quiz. We were going
How
to.
could you not do politics? So what?
But-
We're living under the threat of God knows what on the 20th. God only knows what's going
Well,
to
now
happen.
the National Guard will be out there, so if there's it will be taken care of. I don't think there's.
Supposedly, there's a threat in all 50 states. So they put all the National Guard in D.C. So nothing will happen in D.C., but all the National Guard are there. So
Well-
there's going to be stuff happening every place else.
I think that the state capitals have extra security.
Oh, I hope so. From your mouth to God's ears, David.
But I'm worried about Brush, Colorado. Very, very, very concerned of what might happen in Brush, Colorado.
Why, is that an empty space or something?
It's this terrible town that I went for a job interview in, and it's just got like a main street with nothing on it. And I didn't get the fucking job, which is even better.
Is that where this crazy woman, Lauren Brobart, comes from?
Who's that?
She's the
your Colorado.
congresswoman. She's the Colorado congresswoman who wanted to bring her gun onto the Senate floor, and she brags about it.
Oh.
She was the one who refused to go through the metal detector.
And they should have refused to allow her entrance. That should have been the end of that conversation.
And
Why even bother having it if somebody says no and they go, all right, pass. You know, what the hell kind of
That's the whole
deterrent
thing.
is that?
I put on Facebook that she should star in a revival of Annie Get Your Glock.
But you know what? It's been really interesting. It's been horrible. But imagine if all the people sitting in the Capitol, all the politicians had guns, and then it would have been a firefight.
Well,
It would have been
exactly.
hysterical to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would have been hysterical.
They'd be scraping the holes right now. It's like, whose matter is this?
There was this whole thing that teachers should have guns, and it's
Right.
like, no, I'm not going to be
Right.
packing heat. Are you crazy?
Of course not.
One guard at the door, probably yes. Just
Well, in our school, we had metal detectors, and all the kids have to go through it every day. So
the teachers too, I hope.
no.
In the
the teachers
meantime,
should-
David
they
Sheward,
trust
in the
us.
meantime, they're printing paper guns on 3D printers, you know, that can actually shoot bullets. There's always a way around. There's always a roundabout. So
Anywho,
Right.
you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, David Sheward, Leslie Hoban, Blake.
It always gives me so much hope. It's always a hopeful show.
There's so much hope, but we are hoping to play our Today Yesterday quiz game. I will give David Sheward though 30 seconds more if you want to just expound about the president who is leaving office on January 20th.
All I was going to say was that now the Republicans have in the Senate are they're strategically going to say, is it worth it to, like McConnell has said, he wants Trump out of the Republican Party. He sort of leaked that to the New York Times. And it's not clear if he is going to say to his members, it's okay to vote for this, and then just ban him from the party from running for office in the future. Because if not, he'll be back. And the majority of people in the majority of Republicans now say, oh, sure, I'll vote for him again in 2024. Why not? Of course.
that's right.
Well, won't he be in his, just a logistical thing, he'll be in his 80s by then, won't he?
So what? He'll be
Doesn't
78.
matter.
That's how old
Nancy
Biden is.
Pelosi is 80.
That's how
I
old
know,
Biden is.
and she's on her last. We won't see Nancy Pelosi for more than a couple more years.
Well, but I'm just saying that so the Republicans have to decide what's going to happen, and do they want Trump? Do they want to risk firing up their base and getting them angry at them, or do they want and if they do, convict him, will that result in them being primaried by crazy Trump people?
You should have heard Bill Maher yesterday on McConnell and his quote leaking that information. McConnell playing both sides of the street and both sides of his mouth
Well,
simultaneously.
that's what he always does, McConnell.
Of course, that's the
Well, Lindsey
idea.
Graham is the side speaker. McConnell's usually on not the right side, the right wing side, but Lindsey, he's the one where well, what's going to come out of his mouth today? Anyway,
That's what he said last night.
what you
What
saying?
happened last night?
No, what's going to come out of his mouth?
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
By
It's
the way,
not-
David Sheward, congratulations on playing, and I'm going to say it the wrong way, I know, playing with yourself last week and winning.
It wasn't. We had. It wasn't just solo. We had. David
I
was
know.
here.
Yeah, I'm
I
very
know.
glad that you're here, Leslie, because we get a competition again. I was hoping that our guest could stay and play, but he couldn't. But it doesn't matter. We're going to have you
I'm
again.
sorry, who was the guest? Again, I don't watch.
I know. Thanks.
I watch
thanks for
after,
filling in
I
for me.
watch the
Watch my
next
demo.
day. David, I watch the next day. So
Good, I thank
I
you.
don't have Facebook.
Yeah.
Who was your guest?
Oh, he's a comedian named Shawn Wickens. He's done a little one-man stuff, and he's working on kind of a one-man comedy piece that people can see if they go to eventbrite.com. What he did was during the pandemic, he had nothing. He was just going a little bit, having a very bad time of it. But some comedy material just came to him, about 10 minutes worth of what he thinks is comedy gold. So he's selling tickets, and he's going to do it live on January 29th. Just like, there'll be an opening act, and there'll be some other, so it'll be a fuller evening than 10 minutes that people are paying for. But it seems pretty cool, and he seems pretty good. So a guy named Shawn Wickens. Anyway, he's not part of our Today Yesterday quiz, but David Sheward and Leslie Hoban Blake are. And so with our two contestants, I will ask each of yes. Oh, I
One and a half. I'm only half here. I'm sorry. I'm only.
Okay.
I've been trying to troll for a vaccination all week. That's been my.
Well, how did you get it? Or your teacher, you get it because
I got it through my union, through my teachers union.
Yeah, well, but I'm a retired teacher, and they don't give a shit about us at this point.
Nor should they, quite honestly. So
I did not say. I'm very glad, David. But you teach from home, David, so you're not in front of all those kids anyway.
Well, the idea is that if more of us get vaccinated, we can go
I know.
back.
Then you'll go back to school. I know, sweetheart. I know. Trust me. I know. Friends of mine who got appointments went, and there were no appointments. The machine had crashed, or they had run out of. Either way, both things happened. There was a snafu on the listings. One woman went out to the Brooklyn Navy Yard or wherever the hell she went. It's just. I may have a lead. But
oh, good.
My mouth shut until I know whether I've got one or not.
Okay, good.
Well,
I mean, I am entitled. What happened? You want to talk about the Wild Wild West and the shoot 'em up? When on Monday, when at 11 o'clock in the morning, they said 75-year-olds can get it. And at 1 in the afternoon, they said, and 65-year-olds can get it. So it was like, put all the old people out there and let them fight to the death to see whether they get a vaccine or not. I thought that was hysterically funny until I tried to get it. What?
Metaphorically.
No, not even. It's almost literally.
But it was literally. It was actually like being a gladiator, like to the death. What have you got today? I don't have anything.
Oh!
A little whale.
See, when
is that little blue as opposed to big blue? Is that little blue as opposed to big blue?
I don't know. He's cute though.
It's
See,
a
when
little
David
blue
was
whale as opposed to the big blue whale.
When David was playing with himself last time, he pulled out his free willy. So there you go. I don't even. Dave.
I missed that part.
David,
you want to do it again, Dave? I missed that part, David. I do it again.
No. I was just saying.
I made a terrible pun.
Mr. Peabody.
Thank you, David. Okay.
David, did you get? I sent you a clip. Did you get it of the waitress doing the spam?
I think I did. Yes.
Okay. Because you said something about brushing up your accent. Not that you need to, but it was hysterical that I found it and I was able to shorten it enough to get it online.
Okay.
Let's begin our quiz. So what I need you guys to do is to pick a number between 1 and 6. Leslie, ladies first.
6.
6. Leslie has a 6, and
I'm nothing if not consistent.
I will say 5.
And David Sheward 5. I'm going to roll a one-sided die. Hitting go. Well, David Sheward, you hit it on the nose. We came up with number 5. So you get to decide, do you want to go first or second?
I will go first.
So David Sheward will go first. Leslie Hoban Blake will go second. We have 10 questions in our Today, Yesterday trivia quiz. Let me just lower this, and there we go. All right. We begin, David, with one of your favorite years, 1605. I know you have a list on your wall of like years that you really circle in yellow.
I think Elizabeth was still queen, but go ahead.
Whoa.
1605 was the year. The first part of Don Quixote. I'm sorry, Les? By Miguel de Cervantes is published. Which of these is not true about this masterwork? So multiple choice. Got a lot of multiple choices this week.
Okay.
Which is not true about Don Quixote. The character of Don Quixote was inspired by Cervantes' wife's uncle. B, a year before Cervantes wrote part 2, another author beat him to it with an unauthorized sequel.
Whoa.
C, Tolstoy said that Don Quixote was the most perfect character in Christian literature because his stubbornness made him noble.
Ooh.
Or D, Sigmund Freud once said he learned Spanish just so he could read Cervantes in the original.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I think
One of these is not true. All the rest are true.
all right, the last two sound plausible about Freud and Tolstoy. So the others were
I'll read them again because I know it's a lot to digest.
All right.
So
All right.
part 1 of Don Quixote was published today, back in 1605,
Mhm.
which is not true about this masterwork. A, the character of Don Quixote was inspired by Cervantes' wife's uncle. B, a year before Cervantes wrote part 2, another author beat him to it with an unauthorized sequel. C, Tolstoy said that Don Quixote was the most perfect character in Christian literature because his stubbornness made him noble. Or D, Sigmund Freud once said he learned Spanish just so he could read Cervantes in the original.
What was A again?
A is, was it that the character of Don Quixote was inspired by
Why?
Cervantes' wife's uncle?
Now it's probably something ridiculous, like it was really inspired by his wife's cousin or something like that, or it could be the one about someone else doing a sequel, because how can there be a sequel if it hasn't been published already, unless word of it leaked out? Which could be. I mean, any of them could be true. Any of them could be true, and maybe it wasn't Freud who learned Spanish. Maybe it was Jung who learned Spanish in order to read it. And maybe Tolstoy didn't say that. Maybe, I don't know, Bullwinkle the Moose said it.
I think Bullwinkle did say it, but he said it also. So.
All right, I'll say B is not true.
B is not true. You're saying that a year before Cervantes wrote part 2, another author beat him to it with an unauthorized.
Oh, wait a second, I didn't hear the part about part 2. All right, so I'll say A, about the wife's uncle.
All right, is that?
Yes.
I feel like on Wait, Don't Tell Me. So you're saying the character of Don Quixote was inspired by Cervantes' wife's uncle. That's not true.
All right, I'm going to say that's not true.
I'm afraid he did keep it all in the family. That is true.
Okay.
Actually, it was based on the uncle of Cervantes' wife.
Wife,
So
okay. His
that is
uncle.
the wrong answer, David.
Wasn't I supposed to get a chance to steal on that?
Now, well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
that
Don't be like
was-
Dr. Sue. Just wait for your chance, okay?
I'm sorry, I
Yes,
thought
you
you
get-
gave a different answer. I swear to God, I thought you said it. Oh, because you changed in the middle.
Yeah, okay.
never mind.
I got it
Okay.
wrong. Now Leslie can steal. Yes.
Yes, so Leslie, it's going to be one of the other 3. Do you need me to read them again? Because I can't.
Yes, I do. I definitely do. I'm so confused now.
Sure. Okay. One of these is not true about Don Quixote and Miguel de Cervantes. Okay. Okay. One of them, we said the character of Don Quixote was inspired by Cervantes' wife's uncle. Or B, a year before Cervantes wrote part 2, another author beat him to it with an unauthorized sequel. C, Tolstoy said that Don Quixote was the most perfect character in Christian literature because his stubbornness made him noble. Or D, Sigmund Freud once said he learned Spanish just so he could read Cervantes in the original.
He's doing that to spook me. He's doing that so I'll forget what the no. All right, wait a minute now. That's not fair. I'm gonna say that Sigmund Freud never learned to speak Spanish, and I'm gonna say Sigmund Freud.
Oh, I'm afraid you're of the wrong mind about this one.
Lo siento mucho. Okay.
The correct answer was that C.
Oh.
It was Dostoevsky.
I thought it was something like that.
But also, he didn't say it was perfect because it was his stubbornness made him noble. Dostoevsky said it was because Don Quixote was beautiful while being ridiculous.
Oh,
That's why it was a perfect novel. So I kind of love that. Anyway,
It's so Russian. It's so Russian.
tie game here.
Yeah, right.
Leslie Hoban Blake getting her first question of the day in our Today Yesterday quiz. The year 1865.
Oh, wait, I wanted to say something. So David, that was Elizabeth Taylor who was queen in 1605, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, just wanted to make sure I knew I had to write Elizabeth. Okay, go
Because
ahead.
Richard Burton didn't.
I didn't want to say it because it wasn't my turn to say it. Go ahead.
There we go. 1865 is the year. 156 years ago today, the newspaper that would become the San Francisco Chronicle was founded by the DeYoung brothers. This Pulitzer-winning publication had a different name then. What was that name? It's multiple choice. Okay. Was it A, the San Francisco Times Chronicle, B, the Golden Gate Chronicle, C, the California Day Chronicle, D, the Daily Dramatic Chronicle?
The California Times Chronicle, the San Francisco Times Chronicle.
San Francisco Times Chronicle. That was later, what do you call it? A. Okay.
Yeah.
You want our final answer?
Mhm.
Oh, I'm afraid. No, sorry. Bad news for you, Leslie. That is not the correct answer. So David Sheward gets to
You
steal.
stay up late to write the lines
I was
more than you
literally up
look up the
till
facts. I just
midnight
wondered
one
if the ad libs are take more time than the actual
All right,
facts.
so let's have the other choices.
So here we go. 156 years ago today,
Right.
the newspaper that would become the San Francisco Chronicle was founded. What was its name early on? Was it A, the San Francisco Times Chronicle, B, the Golden Gate Chronicle, C, the California Day Chronicle, or D, the Daily Dramatic Chronicle?
So it's either the Golden Gate Chronicle, the Daily something, or the Daily Drama.
I'll read the.
Don't say the one that's already been eliminated.
Right. Okay.
Just
So
say
it's going to be the Golden Gate Chronicle,
Golden Gate Chronicle,
the California Day Chronicle,
right?
and the Daily Dramatic Chronicle.
God, it could be any one of those, because I was around then, and I don't remember reading about San Francisco. I was too busy, getting out of the Civil War and paying the substitute. I'm going to
Freeing
say,
the slaves, David. You were out there freeing the slaves. I know.
well,
And I was out there defending, who was it? Robert E. Lee or something.
no.
We would argue about Robert E. Lee. I was like, he's not a bad general.
I would like to think that I would have been an abolitionist if I had been alive then, but I probably
I'm saying I would have. We would have had arguments because
and I would have been a coward. I would have been a coward.
Lincoln isn't that great. Yeah. So,
I would have been a coward and done. I would have been a coward and done nothing.
Wow.
Let's see. I'll say the Golden Gate Chronicle.
Golden Gate, that's letter B. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
I thought I'd be giving this away to a couple of theater people. I thought you would kind of guess that.
The drama, it was the drama in it.
It was the Daily Dramatic Chronicle.
Okay.
So
Wow.
Was the Golden Gate Bridge even built then? I just realized.
maybe, well, no, probably. I don't even know.
No, I just didn't realize. I'd have to look it up when it was built. But anyway, all right.
And by the way, for no points, do you know who was an early writer for the Daily Dramatic Chronicle pre-San Fran?
Walt Whitman?
No, Mark Twain.
Oh,
I said Mark Twain.
Oh,
I just said Mark Twain.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, the Twain has not yet met here.
or left the station.
Well, you're Twain. You're tied for 0-0. But now David Sheward gets his next question.
Has the Twain left the railroad station?
I hope so, because I'm taking a TWIP. I don't even know what that means. Here we go. 1877 was the year, David Sheward.
Okay.
American artist Bainbridge Bishop patents his organ, a musical organ, that is. What is special about it is a multiple choice.
Oh my goodness.
A, it projected color in time to the music. B, it had two keyboards, the top one for high notes, the bottom for bass. C, it had 5 stops. When you pulled them, they made bell and chime sounds. Or D, it used electricity to amplify the sound.
I don't think it's D, and B has not been a correct answer yet, I don't think. And B is where I'm leaning. So since we haven't gone with the B, and B was about two rows.
Right.
And I have seen organs that have 2 rows.
Does your
Yeah,
husband know?
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peabody. So I'll say B, 2 rows.
Okay, so you're saying letter B, Bainbridge Bishop patents his organ, which has top row for high notes, bottom for the bass.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm afraid that was off key, David Sheward. That is not the correct answer. Oh, David froze. I hope David's frozen, or else he had a stroke. David, are you with me?
David, come back. Come back, David. That is not your best position.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Oh.
who was that guy who wrote all those science books about the universe? He kind of looks right now like that, the shriveled fellow who died.
Oh, Hawking. Oh, that's a terrible.
He's in that mode right there.
What year was this again?
Wait,
What year was that?
I'll read the question and the choices
Oh,
again.
chat to him. He might not know.
Oh.
Chat or text him. He might not know he's frozen.
Yeah, where's my chat? Joyce is saying I need to chat.
Sometimes his husband messes with the Wi-Fi. Remember?
Oh, he knows. He's
Now he's gone.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's gonna try and come back. So, but Leslie, you do get to steal this question. Let me read it again with the choices, okay? The year was 1877.
That's
American
right.
artist Bainbridge Bishop patents his organ, his musical organ, that is. What is so special about it? Is it A, it projected color in time to the music? B, it had 2 keyboards.
I don't want to hear B because he said B. Just do A, C, D, please.
C, it had 5 stops. When you pulled them, they made bell and chime sounds. Or D, it used electricity to amplify the sound.
Well, it couldn't have played color if it didn't have electricity. I don't know if electricity in 1877, I wish I could remember my Thomas Edison history, but I can't remember how early it was. I don't think that was that early. So I'm going to go with the stops, the 5 stops.
Oh, is that your final answer?
Yeah, I know nothing about organs and don't make any jokes.
Stop in the name of love.
Is
I'm
that
sorry,
good or bad?
you got it wrong. No, that is not
Oh,
the answer. Oh, I gotta admit, hold on. Welcome
Okay.
back to David Sheward, coming back to play the game in the Daverhood. Hello, welcome back, David. You okay? Everything,
I just won the last 4 questions, David. You weren't here.
she has like 97 points. It's
Tell
amazing.
David he should
Okay.
extra questions because he relogged in.
Right, an extra question. So,
Extra points.
can
So
we?
what is the organ answer? I got it wrong also, David. I thought it was the stops.
I'm writing some good choices, I have to say. The answer is that Bainbridge Bishop, the artist, back in 1877,
Oh,
did
it's the
create,
artist. Okay.
and this is according to Wikipedia, which is always right, an organ that projected color.
Oh,
Really?
but-
Wow, that's very
But I
advanced.
didn't think they had electricity, so I didn't know how he could do that.
It had lighting attachments that projected colored lights onto a screen in synchronization with a musical performance.
Oh, how
This
about
is
that?
the horrible part. Bishop built 3 of the instruments. Each of them was destroyed in a fire,
Oh God.
Oh,
including one
was
of
he
them,
projecting with candlelight perhaps, and that's why it caught fire? Because
maybe. Yeah,
I don't think they had electricity, did they, David Sheward?
They
I don't
had
know.
electricity. They didn't
77.
have bulbs. They didn't have the incandescent bulbs yet.
Yeah,
But they had electricity. Was right. Ben Franklin found electricity.
Oh,
no, I know that, but I mean to have it in bulbs. So
Yeah.
they still had candlelight on
well,
stage.
how about that?
Yeah, and the interesting thing, one of those organs that burned up in the fire was in the home of P.T. Barnum. Did not.
Ah.
Well, that's kind of interesting. Well, this is an exciting game. I feel so good because I'm stumping you guys. This is
Well, these are
really
pretty.
tough.
These
Yeah.
are pretty obscure questions.
Yeah. I just want to knock you down because David, when you weren't here, Leslie, I think you got like 14 points.
I watched it, get them. I watched the show the next day. I told
Yeah.
you.
He had 470 points, David.
Yeah,
I know.
472 because I looked something up and it was
Yeah.
correct. So our 4th question goes now to you, Leslie.
So because you want to knock David down, I have to suffer? Is that the idea?
If you had a bad day, why should I suffer? What show is that from?
Uh-huh.
From the
You
roof.
really don't want an answer, do you?
Or
I
a
mean,
bad week.
we all know both of those answers.
It's a bad week.
Is
It's
Oh, it's a bad. I see you even corrected my trivia. That is not for points, by the way. What are you holding up? What is that thing?
It's like
He had a
a ladybug.
snail. Now he's got, what is that, a turtle?
It's a ladybug.
Ladybug.
Oh my God. Where did you get all of these? Where do you have room to put all of these little things?
They're just on my desk, over time.
Yeah.
But you
Well, you
showed
want
all
bucket
of them
people.
today, so now you won't have anything for next week, or do you have still more?
I'm sure he says, oh, there's the Bullwinkle. Always got to pull out his
there's the
Bullwinkle. There you go.
Did you see my Clarabelle the cow up there?
Oh,
No,
She's up there, but I'm pointing to her. You see
I
her
saw
up
it.
there?
It's tiny.
That's
But,
Clarabelle the cow.
oh, and what's that?
Oh,
this is an elephant from India.
he's
Whoa.
lovely.
Are these gifts
Or
that
she.
you gave him?
Well, see, that one came out of a trunk and still has it.
Ask
David.
them if they're gifts that students gave him, or
Yeah. No, they're just, I got them on various trips. Can you hear me? Am I okay?
No, but you're supposed. I made a really, really bad pun, David.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. Thank you, David. I mean, the show doesn't work without that. You have to understand. There's all these little elements that keep the 3 people to watch this tuning in. Are you ready for your next question,
It's
Leslie?
over about 120 people.
I know. But
Oh, that was David's question. I get a question. Okay.
Now Leslie has a question.
but now you have a real the Fiddler on the Roof thing was not a question. It was just it popped into my mind. But this question is a question, Leslie. The year 1919. So on this date, it was a big.
My mother
day.
was born in that year.
Was she really? Oh, it was a big day for the temperance movement, as the 18th Amendment was ratified, banning the production, transport, and sale of alcoholic beverages in the U.S. In 2014, the blog Relish.com listed 10 of the weirdest names for alcoholic mixed drinks. 3 of these were on this list. Which of these was not, because it's fake? Okay, so which of these is not a real, legit alcoholic beverage you can get at a bar? Is it?
Just because I'm having a margarita in a coffee cup, you don't have any right to think that I'm an alcoholic, you know?
Well, it would serve you well if you were, because then you would know the answer to this question.
Go ahead.
Which of these is not a legit alcoholic beverage? Is it A, a short trip to hell, B, sand in the crack,
Oh God.
C, monkey bites the sailor, or D, fearless redneck? I'll read those again.
I wouldn't go anywhere near any of those. So, is sand in the crack supposed to be the thing about on the beach? There's a drink I know that's got something on the beach. Sex on the beach.
That's sex
on the beach is a drink. I know that. Or it's something. So sand in the crack must be in relation to that. Go ahead.
Well, I'll read them again, just so I'll read the choices again. Which of these is not, according to the list on relish.com, a legitimate, an actual weird alcoholic beverage? Is it a short trip to hell, sand in the crack, monkey bites the sailor, fearless redneck?
There's no way to parse this, David Sheward. You realize that there's no way to go.
You
Based
have to-
on what I know about, Shakespeare, I would say, oh, fuck me.
Shakespeare probably would have.
Let's see.
I love these moments.
I would love to have a drink called Monkey Bites the Sailor. Now that I think of it, that would be a terrific drink. I'm going to go with Monkey Bites the Sailor just because it's so friggin' funny.
But is that going to be your final answer, Leslie?
Yes, because they're all stupid. So go ahead.
Oh, Leslie, you are the gorilla of my dreams. You are correct. The first one is
Jesus.
Monkey Bites the Sailor. That's
Doesn't that sound like a play by John Patrick Shanley?
so now we have
or John Ford Noonan, one or the other. If it wasn't John Patrick Shanley, it was John Ford Noonan.
I cracked up when I wrote that one. I have to admit, I was like, that's pretty funny. So yay, I'm glad that got some laughs. And it got you 2
If
points.
not, so the other 3 are names for alcohol.
Are real drinks.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
wow.
the fearless redneck is a drink, sand in the crack is a drink, Short Trip to Hell is a drink. If you want to go to relish.com, there's a blog there that they
I honestly think I heard somebody talking about that Sand in the Crack. That's where the Sex on the Beach thing came to me. It was on some show where they were mixing drink. Honestly, it was something like that. I almost could swear that I heard that name, although I can't imagine they could do it on public access television. So, you know.
Oh, I wrote these down purposely in light shaded ink of what's in these drinks, but it didn't come out in my when I printed it. But I can tell you what's in these drinks. I forgot. What
We're gonna be making some later.
I want a Monkey Bites the Sailor, though, and you don't know what's in
That
that
doesn't
one.
exist. We'd have to make it up.
Liqueur, banana liqueur, right?
Yes, of course.
Here we go.
And monkey,
Here's the deal.
Okay.
Short Trip to Hell has schnapps, Red Bull, and Jägermeister.
Oh,
Which
Oh,
will tell you something.
God.
Sand in the Crack is coconut and regular rum, pineapple, and cranberry juice.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds right. Monkey Bites the Sailor, which does not exist, was white wine, orange juice, vodka, and lime. And Fearless Redneck is Jim Beam and Sobe energy drink.
So actually, the only one I would drink is the monkey drink. It's the only one that has
Fearless
stuff in
Redneck
it that I
sounds
would drink.
Yeah, wine. So David Sheward,
Yes.
oh my God, you're in a hole now. You are down 2 points to Leslie Hoban.
Yeah, he's really worried. He's really worried.
Go
But
ahead.
we move into the 20th century. Well, did we already?
Yeah.
Yeah, we now move into we're already in the 20th century. So
yeah.
your next question is, the year is 1939. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman, the comic strip,
Yes.
debuting as part of the McClure Syndicate. When Superman was just Superboy on the planet Krypton, what was his name? As a multiple choice. I will give this to you. It's 2 points if you do it without multiple choice, or 1 point if I read the choices and
I can do it without multiple choice.
you can do it without multiple choice.
Yeah.
So, is a bird, is a planet Superman. When he was a Superboy on Krypton, what was his name?
Technically, he was a super toddler. He was a boy. He was like 2 or 3 years old or something like that when he was put in the rocket and sent to Earth. And his
He was
name
a baby in swaddling. He was not 2 or 3 years old. He was a baby wrapped in a blanket.
It depends on which comic book you read. There are several where he's on the planet Krypton and he's a baby and he's wandering around and he's talking. So it depends on which, a lot was happening on the planet Krypton before it blew up. All kinds of things. Lois Lane visited, Jimmy Olsen visited, Batman and Superman visited.
Denzel Washington put in an appearance at one point.
Like an Airbnb?
Yeah. And Jor-El and Lara, his parents, were like hosts for all these people who would later, anyway, it's Kal-El. Kal-El.
Is that Klingon? It's Klingon. It sounds
Oh my
like
God.
Klingon.
It's Kryptonian.
Now you really upset Rabbi Sal Solomon because he was hoping it was Bethel, but it's not. It was indeed.
That was his sister.
What?
That was his sister. Bethel was
I have a sister.
They don't talk about her much, though.
Would you have gotten that,
No.
Leslie? Did you know that one, Les?
Yes, of course I knew that one.
Well, see, I wouldn't have
David and I used to give David comic books, right, David?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's his cousin who became Supergirl.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Kara. Yes.
Kara.
Or as we call her, Go to L.
Yeah. Go too well, I get it. Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Mr. Jor-El.
You don't overuse David's praise. He's gonna, don't,
Yeah, I'm pulling out too much.
You're overworking it.
Yeah. All right.
Rewrite.
Let it be spontaneous, like improv.
Okay.
David, when you feel like doing an "Oh, Mr. Peabody,"
The slam too. The slam.
oh yeah, the waitress. The Joyce loves the British waitress, so do a little bit of that when you.
I don't want no Krypton in this. I don't want no kryptonite in this restaurant, Mr. Kent. Here, have a Krypton sandwich. It's courtesy of our cook, Lex Luthor. Oh, what are you doing? This is killing me. Oh, it ain't that bad. How about for dessert? I got some nice rat pie. I got the strawberry tart. How much rat is in it? 3. Rather a lot, really.
Oh my God.
Yes, Krypton, eggs, sausage, and Krypton.
Oh
Krypton, Krypton,
Some
Krypton.
scrambled, some green eggs and ham. And the eggs is green from kryptonite. Dinner.
We're watching the David Sheward Show, ladies and gentlemen, here on this Saturday morning. It is just a bit after 11 o'clock. I want to remind you, you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife, Joyce. Potato is here with us, even though he's been kind of quiet this morning. But we've got David Sheward, we've got Leslie Hoban Blake, and we are playing, what?
Potato's horrified.
I know. Here on
Potato looks
January
horrified.
16th.
What is
He's
that?
horrified by all that talk of all that food.
Oh, he's horrified.
Those-
I thought you said he was horrified.
Oh, have some hash browns with your kryptonite and green.
Oh, now you're gonna make Potato very nervous.
Yeah, I know.
Potato wants extra points for being cute.
He's adorable. He really is cute.
Ah.
So we have a 2-2 game, ladies and gentlemen. It's a shame we're not asking questions about ballet because a 2-2 would be appropriate.
No. Mr.
Okay, I'm not going to beg. I won't beg for it. Here we go.
Oh,
Our next question is about
oh
6.
darling. He's bad pun.
Somebody's squeezing the cat again.
That's what you said last night.
Oh, pam, pam.
Here we go.
Oh,
All right. Let's
made a woman meow.
The next question goes to Leslie Hoban Blake, and it's a tie game, so you can take a leg up if you get this question right. The year.
I can't take a leg up no matter what I do, David.
Oh, that's a bad image. I want to get rid of it.
Well, there you go.
Thank you very much. 1964, the year I was born. It is also on this date, January 16th. Johnny Rivers is the first musician to play this iconic Los Angeles music club, which would also serve as a home to the Doors, Alice Cooper, the Byrds, and Dancing Girls in High Boots. Name that club. Not a multiple
Without any. Okay.
No multiple choice.
I think it was the Whiskey a Go Go.
Oh yeah, are you?
That's my answer. I
Uh,
believe it's the Whiskey a Go Go.
1964 was the year this iconic club opened today, back then, featuring Johnny Rivers as the first performer in The Whiskey a Go Go. Well done, Leslie Hoban Blake.
Very good.
Now, did you know, here's a little bit of trivia.
I don't know who Johnny Rivers is. I know who the other people are that you named, but I didn't know who Johnny Rivers was.
He's still alive too. Sorry?
I know the name sounds familiar. I kind of know that name.
But the interesting thing about the Whiskey a Go Go is it's spelled WHISKY. Do you know why it's not spelled WHSISKEY? It's not a joke. This is just pure real trivia here.
Ran out of letters for the sign.
No, great answer.
Because they didn't know how to spell?
No. No. Also, another great answer. It's deeper than that.
There was another club with the same name.
No. Another great answer.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Back then, rules were that you could not name a club after an alcoholic beverage.
Oh, okay.
So if
Well,
you
that
just
makes-
spelled it whiskey, but whiskey without the E, it was all right. And that's how it became the Whiskey a Go Go. Well done.
I thought maybe too much LSD got into the way or something like that, you know.
That could be. So it's 4-2, Leslie Hoban Blake. But our next question, we are beginning again with David Sheward.
How many questions are there left, please?
There's technically 3 plus a tiebreaker, but we end up usually doing the tiebreaker no matter what anyway, in a weird way. This is our 7th question, and it goes to David, and the year is 1973. After 440 episodes, TV's Bonanza ends its run. For 1/2 point each, answer these true or false questions.
Okay.
And I'll go through them one by one.
All
1/2
right.
point each. There's 4 of them.
All right.
True or false? Victor Sen Jung, excuse me, the actor playing Hop Sing was actually an accomplished chef.
True.
Okay. I'll tell you the answers after we get
Okay.
through all four of them. True or false? Dan Blocker, who played Haas, founded the Bonanza Steakhouse chain.
False.
Question number 3. True or false? The Bonanza theme was written by the same composers who wrote Que Sera Sera.
Now that could be. I'm going to say true.
And finally, true or false? Bonanza, Gunsmoke, and Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman were all filmed on the same Warner Brothers lot.
Bonanza, Gunsmoke.
And Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman were all filmed on the same Warner Brothers lot.
I don't think so, because Gunsmoke and Bonanza were at the same. I mean, it's possible they were on at the same time. They were on at the same time, that they overlapped somewhat. And I'm trying to picture it. I mean, it's possible, but I'm going to say false.
You're going to say false.
All right.
So here's
All right.
how we're going to do this. I'm just kind of working on the fly with this. So David's answers, I've got them.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, I'm going to ask you the same questions.
Oh, okay.
So Leslie, I'm going to have you say true or false to these.
Okay.
Same
What
question.
happens if we both get them right?
Well, here's the deal. If David got it right on the first one, he gets the half point, even if you get it right also. But if he gets it
Well,
wrong,
what?
or got it wrong, you get it right,
You know,
you get half the point. What? Oh,
Go on. Go on.
no, that's it. That's if David got the question wrong and you get it right, then you get half the point.
But if we
That
both
is how we play steel. No, that's not fair, because
Right. It's
the
his
way
question.
we play
But
steel is the right answer is off the table. I mean, the wrong answer is off the table.
you can't. But then
I see what you're saying. Anything that's left would be
there's
the
only
opposite.
one other possible
I
answer.
just got it.
Right.
I'm
yeah.
slow. It's Saturday morning.
There's only
I got
one
it.
other possible answer.
I just
So,
got it. I just got it. I just.
But the
got it.
point is, if you both get it right, David gets the
It's
point.
fine. I
yeah,
just
and
got
if
it.
we both get it wrong, neither of us gets the point.
Right.
That's
But
right.
if
Okay.
David got it wrong and you get it right,
I hear
you get
you.
half.
I hear you. Go
Right.
ahead.
Cool.
Vice
All right,
versa.
so now Leslie's
Not vice versa, but okay.
Same question. Here we go. True or false?
It's a different thing. I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just, it came to me when I was writing the question. Here we go.
That's
Okay.
fine.
True or false? Victor Sen Jung, the actor playing Hop Sing, was actually an accomplished chef.
I'll say no. False.
Okay. True or false? Dan Blocker, who played Haas, founded the Bonanza Steakhouse chain.
That's an interesting one. I thought about that when David answered that. I'll say true.
Okay. True or false? The Bonanza.
Maybe his brother Dirk Blocker did it. I don't know. He had a brother named Dirk Blocker. Go ahead.
A very strange brother named Cock Blocker. We haven't really.
And didn't he have a cousin called Beta Blocker?
There we go. Oh.
Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. Yeah. Hey, watch David.
All the party-
Want to talk about appropriation? You blamed David for appropriation earlier. Now you got appropriation in your own house. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, if David isn't going to do the Mr. Peabodys, someone has
I'll
to.
do them. but
All
just
right.
not so often, So
I know,
yes.
you're right.
What is the last one about whether the set was the same? On
Well,
the
hold on. We
street
haven't
show?
gotten through. We're
Number
still on
three.
the third one.
I do
Third
number
one.
three.
True or false? True or false? The Bonanza theme was written by the same composers who wrote Que Sera Sera.
Can you tell us who they were? Because I don't know who they were.
I'm not going.
No, that's not part of the question.
I know that, but I wanted to know that when you answered also.
I believe I said that was true.
I'll say false. I know you did. I mean, I actually remember your answers for some
Okay.
stupid reason.
And then finally, you were right. This one, Leslie, has to do with location.
Yeah.
True or false? Bonanza, Gunsmoke, and Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, were all filmed on the same Warner Brothers lot.
Okay, here's what I remember about this. excuse me, Bonanza was on the Ponderosa, and it really was a farmhouse, or at least it looked like it was really a farmhouse. And Gunsmoke was filmed on just a street. It was always outside the bar, and they had horses tied up to a thing. You never saw a house or anything. They never went off the territory. And Quinn, Medicine Woman, I don't know. That was years later. That was not contiguous, so I have no idea. I'm going to say they were not shot on the same set.
So you're saying
they probably were,
but you're saying no. You're saying false.
I'm saying they weren't.
All right. So here we go. We're totaling up the points. And first thing that I will tell you is that, David, you took 1.5 points.
Oh, okay.
And Leslie, you did steal 0.5 point. So here are the answers. First of all, it is true that Victor Senyo, who played the chef, the cook, Hop Singh, on Bonanza, ended up becoming a quite accomplished chef. It is not... I'm sorry. It is true that Dan Blocker, who played Hoss, founded the Bonanza steak chain, which was eventually bought out by an unrelated chain called the Ponderosa, and they kind of merged, and the Ponderosa people bought Bonanza. So Leslie, you got that one. And then David, it is true that the Bonanza theme was written by the same composers who wrote Que Sera Sera, who were Jay Livingston and Ray Evans.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have known even if I had their names. I wouldn't have known. Okay.
And then you both were correct that it was false that Bonanza, Gunsmoke, and Dr. Quinn were filmed. They were all filmed on the same lot, but it was at Paramount.
Oh, okay. That's a trick question.
That's tricky. That's tricky. I was going to say Tricky Dicky, but it's Tricky Davy, and that doesn't sound right.
Doesn't make sense at all.
Pretty tricky.
You got 1.5, David. Leslie got 1/2. And so that puts, let's see, David at 3.5 points, Leslie at 4. What an interesting game.
I already had 4 points.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't put your half. I'm sorry, Leslie.
Thank
You
you.
have 4.5 points. So it's Leslie 4.5 points, David 3.5 points. So there's a 1 point there. You're right. Thank you, Leslie.
Okay.
All right, we get to our A question, which means 4, 5, 6,
Just
7,
for
8.
Leslie.
This goes to Leslie. The year was 1957. Operation Power Flight took off today. In a demonstration of their global reach, 3 B-52 bombers made a nonstop flight around the world. Okay. To commemorate that aeronautical feat, can you tell me which of the following is not an album title by the new wave band, the B-52s?
Oh, okay. Wow. Jeez.
Here we
I had a
go.
feeling you were going there.
Multiple choice. Which of these is not a B-52's album title? Is it A, Good Stuff, B, Topaz, C, Whammy, D, Funplex?
Spell that last one.
Sure, I'll read them again and I'll spell the last one. A, Good Stuff, B, Topaz, C, Whammy, D, Funplex.
Oh, fun.
And yeah.
I believe Topaz was Fleetwood Mac, so I'm going to say that can't be it. I think that's right, but I could be way off. So I'm going to say that's the one. You just want the one that wasn't one of the B-52s,
Which of these
right?
is not the title of a
I'm
B-52?
going to say Topaz.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Well, Leslie, your reasoning was wrong, but your answer is right. Topaz was it's a song by the B-52s on their Cosmic Thing album, but it was not an album title of theirs. So Leslie, you actually you got that. You got that well. Other albums of theirs are the B-52s, Wild Planet, and Mesopotamia. Kind of interesting there. And by the way, about the actual B-52 that 3 of the B-52 bombers that took off today, it took 45 hours for the flight around the world and several in-flight refuelings by KC-97s that helped them complete.
How long does it take to go now? How long is it around the world now on it?
I don't know.
No.
I honestly don't.
14 hours to go to France still, right?
Is it? Well, how long took
Take
like
that
this?
long. Well, I don't know. When I went to London, I don't remember how long it took.
London was about 7.
Hours, isn't it? Or yeah.
But France was
Paris
much
is only
longer.
another hour or so, 2 hours.
Well,
London.
that's by tunnel, but that's by tunnel. That's not by flying.
Yeah, I don't know if he went literally without.
I don't know. I was just curious.
We know the B-52s, their big hit was Rock Lobster. Is that how I know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's-
And Love Shack.
Love Shack.
Did they sing Love Shack? Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, so Leslie did get 2 points on that. Let me make sure I code those in there. So Leslie now has 6.5 points to David's 3.5 points. Oh my, David.
Okay.
But you get another question.
Oh, Mr. Sheward.
I didn't say a pun.
So here we go, David. And wouldn't you know,
Uh-huh.
it's a theater question.
Okay. All
The year
right.
was 1958.
Yes.
Anne Bancroft would win her first Tony Award for this drama,
Mhm.
which opened tonight at Broadway's Booth Theater. She played a dancer named Gittel.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to, there's no multiple choice. So
Okay.
it's because I knew your theater people. 1958, Anne Bancroft won her first Tony Award for this drama,
Right.
which opened tonight at the Booth Theater. She played
Right.
a dancer named Gittel. Can you name that production?
Two for the Seesaw.
And her last name was Mosca.
Do I even bother to? Yeah. Yes.
Opposite.
Give them all-
Yeah.
You didn't, her last name was Mosca, which was the joke.
And I did a scene from the play in my scene study class in college.
There you
And
go.
it was made into a musical called Seesaw.
Seesaw, right. And what's weird about it is this Tony Award, it was for Best Featured Actress because her name was below the title, even though there were only two people in the play.
Only two people in
Oh,
the cast.
wow.
And do you know who made his stage debut in that play, in the musical?
The Mayor of New York, Lindsay.
No, Giancarlo Esposito. He was 12 years old. And he sang Spanglish.
Oh, right.
He was a little chubette. He was a
Yeah.
little chubby boy.
Yeah.
A chubette. I love that.
Well, actually, it would have been a girl if he was a chubette. He was a little chubby boy.
And I found this so fascinating that the playwright William Gibson,
Mhm.
I didn't realize this. He went through so much to change the play for Broadway because they had it crafted for Anne Bancroft and Jason Robards was the other actor. And he wrote a book about
Yeah.
it called The Seesaw Log.
The Seesaw Log, yes.
And I went to get it. I want to read this. And I went to the website of my local library. And he's like, sorry, one of our staff members has coronavirus. We're closed for the next 4 days. So it's like, I'm not going to get that book too soon. It's a good book. Do you remember it, David?
I don't remember. I remember reading it a little bit. There were a whole bunch of books like that about
James Goldman, William Goldman,
He's on
James
the board.
Goldman wrote books like
And
that too.
Frank Gilroy wrote something about The Subject Was Roses, I think,
Right.
about that production. And the woman who wrote Any Wednesday, I think, did too, Muriel Spark,
I want to read all of
which
those.
was a
now.
huge hit. It was a huge hit. Now,
Which one?
Any Wednesday.
Oh,
It was?
And yeah, it was this.
Well,
big-
that was the Jane Fonda. It became a Jane Fonda movie. That was
It's
the one about the
movie.
girl, and
And-
I know the one you mean now, right?
But it was Henry Fonda who did two for the Seesaw. Was it Jason Robards?
It was. It wasn't. Yeah, but that was the movie.
No, the movie was Robert Mitchum.
I think you're right about that. So why didn't I think it was?
The
Was it
movie of
Fonda?
Two for the Seesaw was Shirley MacLaine and Robert Mitchum.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
remember that. I thought,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, it was. You're saying it wasn't Robards. It was.
No, it's Henry Fonda.
Two for the Seesaw was Henry Fonda.
When Henry Fonda was doing a string of Broadway shows, he also did "You Know I Can't Hear You When the Water's Running," which I did in stock.
Whoa!
No,
Is that a
not,
good play? I've never.
It's 4 plays. It's 4 little 1 acts.
no, that was Martin Balsam.
Wait, now I'm so freaking lost. Okay.
That was Martin Boston. Oh no, no, Henry Fonda played the lead role.
In You Know I Can't Hear You When the Water's Running?
Yes.
I don't
yes.
think so.
I will go get my script.
Internet
and I will
Broadway
do it. I have
database,
my
here I
script
come.
all set.
Yeah. The original
Okay.
production was Martin Balsam, Eileen Heckart, and George Gazzard, and Melinda Dillon.
Well, I played the Melinda Dillon,
The
except
Melinda
I got
Dillon
to play
part?
Muriel. No, but I got to play Muriel. It was in Summerstock, and I got to play Muriel, which meant I got to play old. There's
Uh-huh.
the two old people sitting on the porch, and they're
Yeah.
talking about their past lives and
That
who
was
they are.
George Gazzard and Eileen Heckart.
Yes, but I got to play that. I did the Maya Dillon roles and the Melinda Dillon in the beginning, and then I got
But it
that
wasn't.
was
It
the only
wasn't.
reason I took it, because otherwise there wasn't anything for me to do.
But there
so I
wasn't.
said,
Henry,
okay, I
but,
wanna
Henry
watch
Fonda,
that.
but Henry
Mhm.
Fonda was not in that show.
I was positive he was.
No, it was
I'm
Martin.
checking it. Internet Broadway database is running really, really slowly
Okay.
at the moment, but I'm trying to find the answer for that
Okay.
for our today, yesterday quiz. When it comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Still on the air at that point. Hey, hold on. It's coming up now. Here we go. And the opening night cast included, this is, I can't hear you when the water's running.
Right.
Among the people, it's like all these one-act plays. So in there were, you're right, Melinda Dillon, George Grizzard, and Martin Balsam were in there. Eileen Heckert, Martin Balsam, George Grizzard.
You were right. I'm wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, Larry Blyton was in there.
He did.
Martin Balsam.
He was replaced. He was in
He was in there in the opening. He was there in the opening night cast.
As an understudy, probably.
No, he may have gotten a bigger, no, he was
He was a
George.
replacement.
It was only a 4-character cast.
Yeah, he was a replacement because he was in the Apple Tree at the time first.
Well, they have him as part of the.
But I could have
There's a
sworn
lot
it
of
was Henry
plays.
Fonda. I really thought it was Henry Fonda.
No, well,
Well,
all right.
anywho,
back to this.
Sorry, I bow to your superior knowledge, David. I should know better than to
yeah,
second guess.
don't cross Internet Broadway database stuff with
Well,
David.
I didn't write any books. David did, so I should bow to his superior knowledge.
Well, speaking of knowledge though, let's see, we have David Sheward with 7.5 points
Oh dear.
and Leslie Hoban Blake with 6.5 points.
Oh.
So
And are there any questions left?
Well, we've got, essentially it's a tiebreaker. So technically David kind of won.
Definitely, David won. Okay.
Yeah, but let's just do the question for funsies.
Okay.
Are you ready?
All right.
It's I would just say you can either hold up a piece of paper or whatever, or pen and paper.
Let me get a piece of paper here.
So David won by a point the game because it's not a tie game. Congratulations to David. We both came on strong after those first couple of questions. I kind of, after midnight when I was still writing these things, I'm like, let me make them a little bit easier. So, I didn't really, but are you guys ready?
All right, I have yes.
Here we go. The tiebreaker, or whatever you want to call it. The year 1970. This science fiction author and architect received a gold medal tonight from the American Institute of Architects for his well-rounded work. 4 years later, he became the second world president of Mensa. Can you name him?
Mensa?
Mensa, the Brainiac place.
All right.
I'll read the question one more time.
Okay.
1970, this science fiction author and architect received the gold medal tonight from the American Institute of Architects for his well-rounded work. 4 years later, he became the second world president of Mensa. Name him.
Okay.
Hold on.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, no,
I'm
this is
coming
right.
up with the only name that I can think of. And I'm probably wrong. I don't think he was an architect, but are you ready? Okay.
I know who it is.
And 3, 2, 1, and go. Let's see. Leslie writes Robert Heinlein. Oh, good answer. And David writes Buckminster
Did he
Fuller.
write science fiction?
He did. And Buckminster Fuller is the correct answer.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
the clue, I kind of labeled it.
Round. I knew the clue was round. I knew that.
Is
The
a
dome. I
dome
knew
was
that.
his thing. So yes, well done. So David, you won all the way around. Anyway,
Went all the way around, David.
bonus question, all the way around.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that wasn't.
David.
No.
David, that's
Oh,
your
Mr.
cue.
Peabody.
You
Yes.
shouldn't have to do it when he wins.
Why? What do you mean? It's a victorious, oh, Mr. Peabody.
You have to think of some new catchphrases too.
All right, yeah, that's your homework for next week, David. As a teacher,
up with
you come
I'm
up
up
with
with-
another catchphrase that you
Okay.
can interpolate. with
Oh, I can.
Mr.
Okay,
Peabody.
I've got one already.
Oh, no. Save it for next week.
Okay.
So next week, I'm not sure. I mean, we'll do the today, yesterday quiz. I don't know quite what time. Does this time work for you? You like it later?
Okay.
No, I'd like it later.
Like
I would like it a little bit.
a guest. Yeah.
Either is fine. It's funny now. MeTV now has Saturday morning cartoons, so I can watch them and then do the show.
Or you could listen to my show until.
Oh yeah, and until we start.
Which
Yeah.
cartoons, David? Don't make me go look. It's embarrassing. Which cartoons?
7 to 8, they have Popeye. 8 to 9, they have Tom and Jerry, and then 9 to 10, they have Bugs Bunny and Friends.
Oh,
Okay, I can live without all of those. If they had Pinky and the Brain, I would go watch it.
Pinky and the Brain. Wow.
Oh, I love Pinky and the Brain.
Cool. I don't think I've ever seen it. Is it what? Tell me
Oh,
about it.
it's clever. It's full of puns and, it's
Oh, I
it's
hate
clever.
puns.
You'd love it. You would, I know.
Puns are like the lowest
Ah.
thing in the universe. Thank you very much. That's the funniest line I've had all day. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been playing the Today Yesterday quiz on Dave's Gone By with Leslie Hoban Blake, whom you can hear on Critics or watch with Charlie Gross on Critics Circle. That's on the YouTube channel called Critics Circle. Is it now or is it on the Twitter?
Yeah, it's on Critics Circle with our names. Yeah.
So what's the most recent episode of that? What's on there?
Oh, you had to ask me that. We did our year-end roundup, and we talked about the possibilities of. But it's so funny because by the time we got to do the show, all the research I did on South Korean theater and the fact that they were able to keep their theaters open, blah blah, they just closed them. By the day that we were doing our show, New Year's Eve they had just closed them again. So we had to super that in after we did all that work because we were going to throw the work out. And we did our best of virtual and real shows, not a Tony kind of thing, just the best of that we liked. That was all.
Cool. So again, people can see that on the YouTube channel Critics Circle with Leslie Hoban Blake and our mutual friend Charlie Gross. And David Sheward, you can read him. He's got a blog at The David Desk. And he's also, you can read his reviews of virtual theater at theatercircle.com and theaterlife.com. What's more, I assume you've been writing politically. What's the latest thing on David Desk?
Oh, well, let's see. The latest thing is, what is the latest thing? I did a satire of Shakespeare called McTrump, and I've been doing that periodically throughout the Trump administration. And so hopefully this will be the last act where Trump is in the White House and he's being fitted for armor by McGiuliani and McBiden is in battle ready. And someone runs into McTrump and says, "Oh, my Lord, this is so horrible." And I said, "Well, what am I worried about? Nothing's going to happen unless all these mailboxes come to the White House, like the trees come to Dunsinane. Yes. But there's an army of mailboxes and mail-in ballots headed for the White House." No.
That's very
he has a battle with McBiden.
That's very funny. By the way, my son sent me a link to something called Cunk on Shakespeare. Have you ever seen that? C-U-N-K. It's a British a parody of those shows like Sister What's Her Name and the art show, or the woman who takes you into
Sister.
Yeah, but it's that kind of thing. It's a female host, and she's talking about it, but she knows nothing about Shakespeare.
Oh,
and it's really quite funny.
Sounds funny.
In only the way that the Brits can be funny about Shakespeare.
Yes.
Neat.
So if you're interested,
right.
it's hysterical. It's just called C-U-N-K, Cunk on Shakespeare.
I'll look for it.
Yeah. Well, it just remains for me to thank once more our guests, Leslie Hoban Blake and David Sheward, for playing, to invite you, of course, back to play next week on my birthday show. Yeah. Go David. Well, go Dave, actually. Go Dave. Yeah.
What day is that?
It's Saturday. My birthday is...
what number day?
23. 23.
23rd.
You don't have to look it up.
Because my mother, my niece, and my brother are all this month, but not on the 23rd.
Well, no, I'm an Aquarius with Uranus rising. Actually, it's kind of an interesting thing right there.
Isn't it hard to believe that it's almost February? Wow.
Oh God! Again, yes, I know. I haven't seen my kids since February.
Well, 2 weeks.
In person.
Yeah.
Well, I have not seen my son and my daughter-in-law since February in person. That's the thing that is breaking my heart.
Since last February.
Last February, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Last in person. I mean, obviously we see each other, but not in person. And I would kill for a hug at this point.
It'll soon be a year since.
I know.
This whole thing.
Oh, wait, Leslie. I mean, do they live in New York? I mean, how far away are they?
They live in Connecticut, and they're just as frightened as everybody else is. So it's better that they stay where they are and that I stay here.
Yeah.
so that we don't, the point is we're worried for each other. I'm worried for
No,
them. they're
I
worried for
mean,
me,
get like together like this. I mean, maybe go to Central Park or something and ask them over there.
No, it's a 5-hour trip for them to get together
Oh.
for 10 minutes in Central Park. It's not worth it.
Okay.
I mean, it's 5 hours round trip, but it's still, it's
It's-
hardly worth it.
Yeah.
And for me to go up there would be to get on a train, and I'm not doing that,
No, I
So
totally
there we
understand.
are.
Yep, here
Anyway,
we are.
guys, have a good week, as good
All
a
right,
week as
thank
you
you.
can have. Let's hope that and pray that nothing bad happens this weekend.
During
that
the inauguration,
goes off without a hitch. Okay.
I think it'll be all right.
I think
hope.
we all agree on at least that much.
Yeah. Oh yes.
From your mouth to God's ears again, I say.
Of course.
Okay.
Have a
Au
safe
revoir,
and healthy week. I'll see you guys next Saturday.
All right, bye.
And it'll be at 10:30 or later, right?
Yeah, it'll be at least 10:30, maybe 10:45. Cool.
Okay, fine. Very good.
I'll
Bye.
let you both know. Bye-bye.
So glad
Bye.
we had this time together. Bye.
Bye. Dave, I gotta,
Bye.
yeah,
Bye.
and I need you to remove. Okay, there we go.
That was touching.
Oh, I gotta remove him still, I think.
I'm still here.
Sorry, man. I'm getting you out of there. Thank you,
I-
David. Okay, David Sheward, Leslie Hoban Blake playing the Today Yesterday quiz. So much fun. So smart. So,
I don't know how they know any of that. I would get a -7.
yeah. I mean, I write these questions. I know that I probably get like 4 points out of the whole.
It's very esoteric knowledge.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just pure guesswork. Sometimes it's just like, well, those all, because I'm trying to make all the multiple choices.
Funny.
Yeah.
I liked your, what was it, a monkey banana?
Monkey bites the sailor.
I like that drink.
That would have been the phrase of the
For
day,
me,
except Shawn
it
Wickens came up
It
with.
would be like a
Yeah.
It would be like a smoothie with sea salt and banana
People would like that.
and
actually.
chocolate. Yeah.
White chocolate, monkey.
Because every time they have like any ice cream that has any monkey in it, they put chocolate.
Oh, sure.
seasoning.
Well, because monkey do. It's monkeys throw
monkey
their
do.
feces.
Monkeys throw their poop.
Yeah. And that would be a drink. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I am drunk on joy doing this program, Dave's Gone By, every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts, right here on this Facebook channel. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That's my wonderful wife, Joyce. This is our 781st episode that we are calling WICKENSPEDIA in honor of our guest earlier in the show, Shawn Wickens. And I want to remind you that if you missed that part of the, like
I still can't invite people
on the watch party. But here's the deal. Leslie is saying that she watches the show the day after. She gets up too late in the morning to watch the early part of this program. David Sheward, he likes to watch sometimes later on in the week. So can you. Remember that all our shows are at davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONEBY. davesgoneby.com. Going all the way back to our first show in October of 2002. It's audio only. There were radio programs, but they're there. And the interviews that we've done over the years, davesgoneby.com. Check it out. We also put all our archives at archive.org. So it's a, what's right?
Are you going to do it on Spotify?
We're thinking about trying to put it other places because we want as many people to watch and listen as possible. We've got our shows up on YouTube. We also on the Dave's Gone By channel and our audio up at castbox.fm. Castbox.fm. We have a whole channel there where it's for literally audio podcasts, and you can hear all our episodes there. Castbox.fm. Lots of places, lots of ways to stay in touch and watch this program. Really, the first place, of course, is davesgoneby.com and this Facebook page, where, by the way, you can post your messages to me, either directly if we're Facebook friends or right at the bottom or where people post during a show. And you can email me, davesgoneby@aol.com, or follow my tweets, Radio Dave 2, Radio Dave, and the number 2. Well, we have a lot to do with the remaining portion of this program. We got not a lot of time left, although we'll go well after the noon hour. Oh my goodness, we've got Rabbi Saul Solomon's Rabbinical Reflection of a Political Bent. We also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we're going to Cascade, Colorado. We've got the Friends of the Daverhood to do. And we still haven't even done, and we're going to do now. Oh, and we haven't done Inside Broadway either. Oh my goodness. Let's get to it. Let's do, Hun, are you ready to be crimed and old-timed? This is where we do a segment based on stories that are in the newspaper in Greeley, Colorado. One of them is Coplog, the other is Greeley 100 years ago. We mix them together in Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here's the newspaper, a real, actual daily, well, it used to be daily. Now they put out one 4 times a week, but it's the Greeley Tribune newspaper, well over 100 years old. So, yes, there are archives of what they were publishing in the paper 100 years ago, back in 1920, late 1920, 1921. Plus, Coplog is a weekly column in the Greeley Trib where phone calls from concerned citizens to the police department about odd things going on in their neighborhood. They call the cops, and the cops, well, certainly the dispatcher takes the notes, and that becomes public record. So we mix them up. It's all real stuff. That's what's kind of neat. And plus, I don't have to write any material because it's all there for me, thanks to the Trib. Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Are you ready for our first crime? Police responded to a bar on 9th Street where a caller reported being threatened after leaving the bar. The caller said there was a lot of drama downtown. Police reported downtown appeared to be, quote, a drama-free zone. Kind of like that. They should have had the Daily Dramatic Chronicle to cover that. But it's sort of like some policeman with a poetic bent. It's a drama-free zone. Also, police responded to a hotel on 7th Street where a man was laughing and didn't seem all there. He was drunk and got locked out, and police helped get him home. Which is kind of like, you know, do you interfere with a person who's just kind of laughing on the street and not quite all there?
No, he's happy. Let him be.
He's right. He's just stumbling back to his
Can't
hotel.
someone be happy?
Yeah. I mean, he's not drunk at the store. It was like 5 a.m. when this was happening. So police just helped him get home, which is kind of cool. Now, this is going back 100 years here. J.F. McCrary had problems, don't we all? Mr. McCrary had problems with his Tribune newspaper being blown away before he could get it in the morning. He solved the problem by placing a section of a large drain pipe in his front yard. The carrier simply dropped the paper in the pipe and it won't blow away. Mac, J.F. McCrary, Mac says there's no patent on the device. So if you're having issues, I don't know if anybody still gets daily newspapers delivered, but you know, you just go right into the pipe and there it is.
I think a lot of people are using a pipe, and I don't think it's that way.
No, indeed. Hey, did you know that the Poison Ivy Club held its annual dance at the Odd Fellows Hall this weekend? No, it was apparently well attended, but personally, I don't know if it was up to scratch. Okay, it should be Oh, Mr. Dave Body. Oh, Mr. Dave Body. There we go. Let's have a little more crime, shall we? We shall. A caller on 25th Street reported a man who appeared intoxicated who went to the caller's door and said he was dropping off a woman who wanted to be dropped off there. The woman appeared sober and was yelling at the man, "They don't know me." He's like, "I'm dropping you off with your friends." I mean, I don't know who those people are. Oh, that sounds like, oh, hon.
What?
Oh, honey.
What?
Oh, get the noises ready, ladies and gentlemen.
Ready, yeah?
Because from, not from 100 years ago, but literally from maybe 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
we have a hobo alert. Hobo alert! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a caller on 11th Avenue, this is 2:30 in the afternoon, wanted to know what she could do to resolve an ongoing issue involving homeless people trespassing into a bank's ATM lobby next door.
Well, were they sleeping there?
Or yeah, because it's cold, it's winter, so they come in,
Pee-pee.
or whatever they do. That's the thing. But during winter, homeless people need places indoors to stay, and they get into a bank lobby, and there they are. Not the lobby, the ATM area. So police explained that they've contacted the bank asking them to address the problem with no luck. So those hobos are here to stay, and they're guarding your ATM. So there you go. Want to let you know from 100 years ago. You okay, babe? Oh, the masked Marvel wrestler
God.
will be pitted against Greeley hero wrestler Toots Montt this week. A wrestler named Toots. No one knows who the masked Marvel is, but it's rumored he's a world champ. If he gets pinned by Toots, he is required. Yeah, no, there's no Maytals here.
Oh.
So if Toots pings this guy, he has to reveal his identity.
Wow.
I'm thinking a young Ethel Merman, but
I believe so too.
possibly not. So anyway, a week later, the Trib published the answer. In fact, the Marvel turned out to be Bill Manigoff,
Of course.
a huge 220-pound Belgian wrestler. He has beaten many U.S. champions, but not Toots. Oh, that Toots Montt. Yeah. And he had a nice pair of toots on him, I gotta tell you. But
David.
let's do one or two more of these and Greeley Crimes and Old Times on Christmas Day of 2020. A caller sitting at a fast food restaurant reported that a door was broken into at a liquor store on 10th Street. On closer inspection, what was it?
Someone opened the door and was moving stuff out.
No, great.
Oh, it was an empty box.
Nope.
It was Santa.
Nope. It looked like, here's the deal. It looked like the door was broken.
Oh, it was a Christmas decoration.
Yeah, it was glitter on the window.
Oh my God.
And the guy was sitting across the street in a restaurant. He's like, oh my God, it's all shattered. And it's like, no, it was just glitter. Which is kind of cool.
Glitter has been the downfall of many a door.
Oh, it has. It has. Because before the glitter, they were adorable. Oh, Mr. Dave Body. Police responded to a business on 10th Street where someone reported receiving a suspicious letter. Police determined the letter wasn't threatening.
You know what the letter was? It was
What?
a letter H.
It was a letter H, right. Weirder still, it was addressed to the business and it only said airplane with a drawing that appeared to be by a child.
That's nice.
I would still find that really freaking creepy.
I think it's that they must have had some kind of drawing contest and the child wanted to enter, but then
Yeah.
how did the child address the envelope?
Or was it, yeah, it had to be addressed to the business. Somebody decided to send them airplane and a child's drawing on there. It doesn't say whether the drawing was of an airplane, but I would still feel really creeped out if I got that in the mail.
I think it has to do with the custody battle. That's like a custody battle.
Oh,
like
I wonder.
101, yeah.
So let's do one more. Police responded to a report, and it's unfortunate. The weird thing is with all those noisemakers we have, we got the cat going. "Ah." We don't have a dog.
Yeah,
Do we have a dog on there? Well, no, that's a very weird dog. That's a dog that's transitioning.
we could give the yodeling pickle.
We could, man. It's all right. We'll leave the yodeling pickle. Let's make believe this is a dog barking.
Oh, that's not a dog bark.
Police responded to a report of dogs barking and howling since 7 o'clock in the morning at an address on 30th Street
Maybe this.
Road. Yeah.
No.
A dog in heat was being kept apart from a male dog. The owner was warned of the noise violations. So,
Come on now.
yeah. Well, I have to say though, even as someone who eats as badly as I do, 7 in the morning is a little early to have hot dogs. Oh, Mr. Dave Body. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Greeley Crimes and Old Times for this Saturday morning, January 16th, 2021.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Greeley Crimes and Old Times only. You're not going to see that kind of entertainment anywhere else, except on Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife, Joyce. We have still some stuff to do. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, our Friends of the Daverhood, and Rabbi Sal Solomon's Rabbinical Reflection. But before then, let's get just a little serious for just a little bit. Even though it's a pandemic, I still have to kind of remind myself that I'm a theater guy, a theater critic. I've been watching a lot more theater stuff on TV the past couple of weeks than I was the first 9 months of the pandemic. It was Joyce's idea to spring for Broadway HD. So we've been enjoying that and all the content that they have and finding some theater stuff elsewhere. I didn't think I would be that into it, but I am enjoying watching theater, and it's not all, some of it is the Zoom virtual thing in the boxes that's newly created, but we're also watching a lot of stuff that was taped in the 70s and 80s and 90s of shows that I never got to see, either because they never came to Broadway or I wasn't going to Broadway back then, or they were British shows. So I'm really, really appreciating the ability to do that and to have that. But anyway, this is all to say that I'm a longtime theater critic, theater journalist, actor, director, and of course, playwright. And so I care about Broadway, and I like to tell you what's happening on Broadway, and even more so, I'm setting up so well, and now I can't find my iTunes. Here it is, Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond, brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Inside Broadway we go, and we do this every week just because I like to keep my hand in the game. When theater starts up again, I'll start reviewing the theater, I guess, but until then, and we'll certainly have more news to talk about, I like to keep you apprised of what's happening on and around the Great White Way. Unfortunately, we have 3 items today inside Broadway, and they're all funerals. So it goes. So this is a quiet time of year anyway in the theater, but yeah, we've got to say goodbye to 3 people. First of all, major dude passed away just yesterday. 89 years old, died of complications from coronavirus. He had just retired in June. So farewell to Philip J. Smith, the former chairman of the Shubert organization, like the most important theater producing or ownership of theaters in America and possibly the world. So Philip Smith started as an usher, and then he began running the Imperial Theater box office back in 1957. And then Bernie Jacobs, legendary Bernie Jacobs of the Shubert organization, mentored him. So soon Smith was a vice president, then an executive vice president. And when Bernie Jacobs passed away, he kind of took over as head of the organization. He won a 2011 Lifetime Achievement Tony Award, bunches of other awards, of course. And during his tenure, it became the most important commercial theater organization in the world, owning 17 Broadway theaters and 6 off-Broadway theaters. He was instrumental in figuring out ways that Broadway shows could sell tickets and take credit cards. People used to send checks by mail or come up to the box office with cash. And he was like, well, come on, it's 1960, 70 something. We need to take credit cards. He figured that out. And even though it's the Theater Development Fund that runs it, he was very much part of the creation of the Times Square TKTS booth, where it was back in the day, it was 50% off. Now it's all varying discounts on shows. But Phil Smith was important, helping with that as well. He succeeded Jerry Schoenfeld at the organization. Robert Wankel will, I'm pretty sure, take over for him. Michael Riedel, our friend at the Daverhood, wrote in his book, Razzle Dazzle, about the major theater owners, quote, in a business that did not lack for shady characters, Phil Smith and Bernie Jacobs both had a sense of honesty and fairness. And so a farewell, a fond farewell to Philip J. Smith, former chairman of the Schubert Org. And I want to say a farewell to an actor named Peter Mark Richmond. He was also known as Mark Richmond. He passed away on Thursday at the ripe old age of 93. He started, his family wanted him to get a job. So like his dad, he started as a pharmacist, but he tried acting. Eventually, he did a whole bunch of TV. He made his film debut in William Wyler's drama Friendly Persuasion. And he made his Broadway debut in the 1953 military drama And as a Man. It ran 3 months, and his co-stars included Pat Hingle, Harry Guardino, Ben Gazzara, and Tony Franciosa. So like every Italian kind of tough-looking guy was in that play back in 1953. In 1955, the hit Broadway drama A Hatful of Rain, he replaced Steve McQueen, who replaced Ben Gazzara in a major role in that show. And Mark Richmond's last Broadway performance goes all the way back to 1959 in the one-night flop Masquerade, which also starred Cloris Leachman. So farewell to Peter Mark Richmond. Well, we are not bidding farewell to this long-running theater journal, Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway, since 1944. So this is the place that people in the entertainment industry, not just theater people, but people in TV and film, they want to know what's coming to Broadway, who's on Broadway now, how do you contact the producers, the playwrights, the designers, the directors, the actors. All that information is on every page of Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. So if we flip through it really quick, we can get to the table of contents, of course, a guide to the Broadway season, a map of the theater district, and then a guide to every theater and their tenants. Now, at the moment, of course, everything is on hiatus until, well, June 1st at the earliest. But this lists every theater and what was playing there or about to start playing there, how many seats the theater had. Who was it? Is it a Schubert theater? Is it a Nederlander? Is it Drew Jamson or somebody else who owns the theater? All of that just on this page. And then we get to the press agents. So if you're trying to contact folks in Broadway, off and off Broadway shows, these are the people. And then listings of every single show on, off, and off Broadway. There's a calendar, which of course will be much more important as we get closer and closer to reopening Broadway and off Broadway, and then listings comprehensively of every single show that is planned to either come back or planned to start up in 2021 and 2022. How can you get Performing Arts Insider? Go to performingartsinsider.com, performingartsinsider.com. It's an expensive publication, but people have just been renewing, some of them not even for years, for decades, year after year, because they know this is the place they get the theater information that they need. Performingartsinsider.com, the Bible of Broadway. And I do want to say, yes, it's very pricey. You get 12 actual hard copy magazine issues in the mail, but you can get just a PDF edition of it, and it's a bit cheaper. So just all the information is at performingartsinsider.com. Let's finish up our Inside Broadway segment on this Saturday. And one more farewell. Got to say bye-bye to drama critic John Heilpern, who died of lung cancer last week. He was a long-time drama critic for the New York Observer. He was also a contributing editor of Vanity Fair. He helped, and he had a little bit of actual theater experience. He wasn't just, so many of the critics who think, oh, well, all they do is sit there in their chairs and they write, and they've never written a play, and they've never acted in anything. And usually that's not true. Usually they put their hand in a little bit and realize, oh, maybe it's not for me. maybe, or I tried it and I'm not going to be a famous actor, so let me critique other. But most of us have tried all aspects of theater. So John Halpern helped Peter Hall in England on a production of Tamburlaine, and he worked with Michael Bennett on projects that Bennett was working on post A Chorus Line. I don't think they came to fruition, but he was certainly planning things, and John Halpern was helping with those. He also wrote acclaimed books about David Mamet, John Osborne, and Peter Brook. So a farewell to John Halpern, because critics like him make us say, ain't Broadway grand?
It's the famous gay white way where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's excitement, it's romance, it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand?
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, Broadway is grand, and that's why I like to include something about it on pretty much every episode of this program, Dave's Gone By. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. My darling and adorable wife has been helping me, as she does with every show. This is our 781st episode. We've been calling it WICKENSPEDIA in honor of our guest earlier in the show, Shawn Wickens. It is noon right now, but we're not going away, because the program is on from 9 until noon-ish or thereabouts. We have a little bit of thereabouts to do for you before we go. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned and our friends of the Daverhood. But before we get to them, as promised, Rabbi Sal Solomon has been waiting impatiently in the wings to bring us a rabbinical reflection. And this is where he will talk sometimes Jewishly, sometimes not so Jewishly, about events in the world. And of course, politics is on his mind, and free speech is on his mind this week concerning everything that has been going on with people who feel like they're not being heard, and therefore they may turn just violent or just plain stupid. Rabbi Sal Solomon has his wisdom to share with us. And in order to do that, I need to share my screen with you. So let me make sure I can do this properly. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. Our rabbinical reflection. It's a mini sermon courtesy of the Rabbi. So let me see how I can bring that up. Okay, so that's up. Good. I can lower that. And I can lower that. And what I can do is, okay, I'm going to share my screen. And then the next voice you hear will be very, very Jewish. Share. And we'll make that bigger. And ladies and gentlemen, here is Rabbi Sal Solomon.
Hello, it's me, Rabbi Sal, with Rabbinical reflections for you all. I come from Temple Sons of Bitches here in Great Neck, New York. Shut up and pay attention to me. Shalom, damn it! This is Rabbi Sal Solomon with a rabbinical reflection for the week of January 17th, 2021. Can we speak freely? No, I mean, can we speak freely? I don't like the Stop the Steal Michigas any more than you do. And I think the nudniks who stormed the Capitol building deserve the strongest punishment, like fines, imprisonment, or being trapped in an elevator with Janine Pirro in your left ear and Nancy Grace in your right, and they're both using megaphones, and guess what? They're angry. But back to the point. We've got a paranoid president who is circling the drain because he's terrified of being called the one thing he is, at least in terms of the 2020 election, a loser. Not with Israel and the Middle East, he's a winner there, Not with Wall Street and big business. He's Superman there. And up till March of last year, not with the economy, which had low unemployment, tons of job growth, and a gung-ho attitude. But COVID knocked him down, as it did 350,000 of his countrymen. Trump's rash pronouncements and veiled racial signaling, appealed to America's baser instincts. So although 75 million people voted for him, 80 million didn't. He lost. Deal with it. I wish he would. I wish his Confederate flag-waving acolytes would. And I wish the folks on QAnon would get a clue-anon. However, just before the riots, the president gave a speech where he dubbed the elections fraudulent, the news fake, and the elections rigged by big tech. He called on Congress to recount everything, and he said, and I quote, "I know that everyone will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard," unquote. He also praised the size of the crowd, he does love a big crowd, and urged them to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue as a protest, as a way for those who legitimately felt the election was stolen to make their voices heard. For this, Donald Trump was again impeached for spinning a false narrative, yes, about the election, but moreover, for inciting the crowd to riot. "Something is wrong here, really wrong," he said, "and we fight. We fight like hell, because if you don't, you're not going to have a country anymore." You know what that's called? Rhetoric, not insurrection, not incitement to anarchy. It's a politician telling his believers not to give up hope and to channel their rage into action. If some followers in buffalo skins and football fan camouflage took that to mean storm the government, break stuff, and take stuff, that's on them. At the very least, it's trespassing. At most, it's sedition. The Democrats are accusing the president of having assigned first sedition. True, he wound the bozos up, but he didn't set them loose any more than the makers of Cabbage Patch dolls doing TV commercials telling parents, "Buy these horrible things for your even more horrible children," caused riots in Kmart. But pushing past impeachment and trying to remove Donald Trump from office, which will happen 2 weeks after he's already been removed from office, my problem is with the censoring of free speech. President Trump has been banned permanently from Twitter. Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram have deleted him for however long they choose, and YouTube has pulled his channel down. Far more worrisome, they're doing the same for all his nutty followers, who now have no place to share their cries of fraud and conspiracy. Google, Apple, and Amazon have all removed the social media site Parler because too many kooks were spoiling the broth. Now, these are private companies, sort of, so their CEOs have the right to monitor everything that goes on them. If you own a restaurant, you can't discriminate against your customers based on race or gender, but you can still demand no shirt, no shoes, no service. I've thrown people out of my synagogue for wearing dirty taluses. Well, they weren't wearing anything underneath them, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, we are on a very slippery slope when our biggest purveyor of public palaver starts telling us, well, you're allowed to post hopeful things about Joe Biden's inauguration, but you can't write anything questioning the legitimacy of his victory. You're allowed to condemn the violent idiots rioting in Nancy Pelosi's office, but don't you dare encourage the peaceful idiots to keep marching 2 blocks away. When I was a little rabbit, I was taught 3 things you couldn't do: yell fire in a crowded shul, slander someone, or be so obscene that a reasonable person would go, dude, I'm as kinky as the next fetishist, but that's messed up. But no law says you can't lie. That's not even one of the 10 Commandments. Oh, wait, let me make sure. No, a false witness is different. But there's certainly nothing in there about not sharing things that you actually believe are true, even if there's overwhelming evidence that they are false. So, what happens when you censor folks on the fringe? You make them angrier. You drive them deeper underground. And now it gets harder to track them to make sure they don't escalate from angry TikTok videos to kidnapping Ilhan Omar. You also cause everyone else to self-censor. Maybe I better not post this because they'll just take it down anyway. Maybe I better not think this, because then I'll waste time posting it because they're just going to take it down anyway. I am of the mind that you say what you have to say, and if I hate it, I get to say what I have to say back at you louder. The problem in 1925 was not that Hitler published Mein Kampf. It's that not enough people read it and went, oh, this guy's bonkers and maybe dangerous. The problem is not that right-wing Republicans are posting that the elections were a fraud. It's that they believe it and won't be deconvinced no matter the proof. Still, prohibiting them from non-violent, non-slanderous, non-obscene communication is non-okay. Big Brother is already watching us from every stoplight, website, smart TV, closed-circuit camera, and GPS system. You can't sneeze without someone in the CIA muttering Gesundheit. Must we have social media platforms that restrict content based on alternative narratives? Do we really want to side with Cardinal Maculani over Galileo, with Anthony Comstock over James Joyce, with Ayatollah Khomeini over Salman Rushdie? In my version of reality, Donald Trump was an okay president who made just enough poor decisions to lose the election. In your version of reality, Donald Trump was a terrible president who should have been impeached before he was elected. Or in your version of reality, Donald Trump was a great president who got cheated out of a second term. Can't we all just not get along? Tolerating stupidity is one of the great virtues of our nation. That and cream soda. What, you disagree? That's your right. This has been a rabbinical reflection from Rabbi Sal Solomon, Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York.
Thank you, Rabbi Sal Solomon. The opinions expressed by Rabbi Sal Solomon do not necessarily represent those of Dave's Gone By or Dave Lefkowitz, although they tend to be kind of pretty close. And I thank Rabbi Sal for being with us and doing his rabbinical reflection. I always love listening to him, both the comedy and the truth. But then again, we're real close, so I'm kind of biased. Anyway, if you want to know more about
Some
Rabbi,
people say you resemble each other very closely.
do we really?
Yeah.
We used to look a lot more alike,
Yeah.
and he started dressing differently.
He had his lipo.
You want to find out more about him and listen and read more of his rabbinical reflections? Go to his website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, DAMMIT. Shalomdammit.com. It was recently not updated, but we updated the information in it. So all his interviews from the past year plus the past 18 years that he's done on the program, there are links to those. All his rabbinical reflections are there, the text of them, and links to where you can hear him or watch him doing them on YouTube. Those are there too. So all of that, plus the 10 episodes of the show that he did on cable TV years ago, those are really funny. Those are there. And his stage show, Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Sal Solomon, that is available for free at his website, shalomdammit.com. com. You do want to check that out. And let's see what else. We still have our Colorado Limerick to do, but I want to thank so much for being with us once again. Shawn Wickens for being with us in the Daverhood. Shawn, remember, he's got a bunch of things going on. He's got the Stoner Morning Show, which you can find on Facebook and on YouTube. He is also going to be doing the 10 best, 10 best things ever? What's it called?
10 minutes of good comedy.
The best 10 minutes of my life. The best 10 minutes of my life, that will be starting January 29th. And you can find all of that at ShawnWickens.com. He is now a friend of the Daverhood, so we're going to keep tabs on him and let you know what he's up to. We've had so many friends of the Daverhood on the program in these 18 plus years. So we do a segment where we keep tabs and we let you know, hey, this is what's going on with the people that we know and love. We call them Friends of the Daverhood. So it's kind of interesting. Like I'm this trailblazing pioneer by doing this video show and creating this video cast every Saturday. And now so many of our guests over the years have decided to do their own. So David J. Gerstein, or better known as Dave J, he's doing a live Facebook show on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. And he's a talented singer-songwriter. You're going to want to watch him there. And Ellie, King of Broadway, he does a daily broadcast, a very Jewish-oriented broadcast on Facebook. Ellie, E-L-L-I, King of Broadway. And that's pretty wild. You really, I don't know if you like it or not, but you definitely need to check that show out. I want to wish congratulations to Eliza Gilkison, the folk and pop singer. Her song Peace in Our Hearts from her album last year that was called 2020. Peace in Our Hearts was nominated for Song of the Year by Folk Alliance International. So fingers crossed for Eliza Gilkison. I want to remind you that now through the end of the month, New Yiddish Repertory Theater is bringing back their recording of their Zoom theater production of The Dybbuk, featuring Amy Coleman and David Mandelbaum. So you're going to want to watch that. Letting you know that on the 17th, so that's tomorrow, Sunday, Woody King Jr.'s New Federal Theater is having its 50th anniversary. A lot of stars are going to be paying tribute and saying hi virtually. You're going to want to watch it at newfederaltheater.com. And that's theater with an R-E, newfederaltheater.com. On Wednesday, Mike Agronoff, he is going to be doing a concert from Club Passim. That's a very well-known club. I'm not sure if it's in Massachusetts, I think is where it is. And it is celebrating the publication of his book, Jake the Captain and Other Heroes. For more information, go to passim.org, P-A-S-S-I-M, passim.org. Now through the 20th, you have a couple more days to see David Cale and Charles Bush and many other artists celebrate the Pangea Club. Now, Pangea, they were struggling even before the pandemic, and now they are on the verge of closing. They're trying to raise some money. So PangeaNYC.com to watch the big benefit, and of course, if you want to donate. And David Cale, Charles Bush, both of them fairly recent visitors to the Daverhood. Barbara Fasano and Eric Comstock, they are a married couple who sing songs together, and they post a bunch of them on their YouTube page. Remember that StageBuddy.com is founded and edited by our friend Evan Seplow. Dr. Demento still doing new Dr. Demento shows at his website, drdemento.com. And Stuart Brown has 24 hours of Broadway music at soundsofbroadway.com. Also a cool weekly quiz. That's a lot of fun to do. And finally, Bob Cudmore doing podcasts of upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. John Ruane is publishing articles about heroic people doing heroic deeds. So you're going to want to find that at johnruane.substack.com. And it's Ruane, R-U-A-N-E, johnruane.substack.com. And finally, let's see, one more. Want to remind you that Well, read, as I always do, our sports guest, Phil Mushnick, in the New York Post. He writes about how media covers sports. He does it twice a week in the Post, and they're great columns. They'll angry up your blood, if you will, because he just basically charts the downfall of civility and intelligence and decency in sports twice a week in the New York Post. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. So it is about 20 after 12 in the afternoon, live on this Saturday, January 16th, 2021. Do we end the show? Do we thank you very much for watching? Do I re-invite you and remind you that next week it will be my 57th birthday, and I will spend it, at least 3 hours of it, right here, doing what we do on the program. Yay me. So I think that's well enough to just thank my wife, Joyce, for being part of the show and saying she's so wonderful, and thanking again to Shawn Wickens for being on the program, and thank you to David Sheward.
You don't have to thank me, you'll still get your cake.
And that's right, Joyce is getting me a Carvel cake, because it's a tradition with us. It's been something that we've been doing in my family for years and years and years. So gosh darn it. And we did it in Colorado too. That's what made it really special, because it was no big deal to be in New York, especially where we live. We live about a quarter mile from a Carvel, or half mile from a Carvel store, let alone finding Carvel cakes in the local supermarket. But it was so weird being in Colorado, right? Not even Denver, but a small city in Colorado, and being at a big supermarket there. And it's like, oh my God, they actually have Carvel. And you keep it for a special occasion. You don't just want to buy a Carvel cake once a month or so. You could, I guess you could. But there's something, you wait for that big event to get the Fudgy the Whale or the Hug Me Bear, or my wife is of course getting me another Cookie Puss. My favorite was when a couple of years ago, she wanted something Jewish for the rabbi, and she got him a Cookie Pussowitz.
That's Roman made it.
A guy who's, I don't know if he's alive or not. But
he sold the store. He's gone now. Yeah.
But the guy who was kind of running it, franchising it, a fellow named Roman, really nice dude. And she asked him, well, can you gussy up? It's a cookie puss, but can you decorate it and make it sort of funny Jewish? And he put like a beard on it and payas and a longer nose, and called it Cookie Puss. We called it Cookie Pussowitz. I was very proud of. Oh, that's what I was thinking of this week. Tell me if this isn't a great. What?
We probably have pictures of it.
Oh, I'm sure we do somewhere. There would have been a hard copy, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But this is magnificent. I thought of this idea because Tom Carvel, they basically stuck for many, many years with the same ice cream and the same molds. Yeah. So no matter what you ordered, it didn't matter if it was the outer space thing that they did, or the bear, or Fudgy the Whale. It was all sort of coming out of the same exact tin. It was just how they decorated it. And now they've got to roll with the times. Now they have an Oreo cookie cake. Now they got for Super Bowl, I'm sure they do a football cake. It's Carvel. They've got to do what they've got to do. But I was thinking why they don't take more advantage of holidays. So for what was I thinking? I hope I remember. There was for Thanksgiving.
Oh, you wanted a turkey.
Right.
Or
well, they should do a turkey mold and call it like Gobbles America, maybe, or Gobbles the Beautiful. That was the one I came up with. Yeah, because you can just hear Tom Carvel pushing it right around the beginning of November. Oh, it's Gobbles the Beautiful. You can serve it for your family, serves 12. It's a special cake of gratitude with less air. I can't do the Carvel voice, but I thought Gobbles the Beautiful would be a great cake for Thanksgiving that Carvel could do, because it would fit right in their niche. And what was the other one? What other holiday? It was absolutely perfect.
Showa.
Joyce is saying Showa when you just put out a melted cake. No, it was what are the other big like American. It wasn't.
Easter. You have Easter.
It was Easter. It was Easter. That's right. It was. Oh.
Something Hopowitz.
Yeah. Yes. Hopalong chocolatey.
Yeah.
Come on. Is that not $1 million idea for Carvel? Hopalong chocolatey, which of course would be a bunny mold, bunny ears, and a little, ice cream egg basket. I think that would be absolutely fabulous. I don't know why they don't go there. And I've got to think of some other holiday related things, like Lincoln's birthday, they have a Lincoln cake, and you have like a chocolate cone going for the center of his head. Anywho, so next Saturday, January 23rd, my 57th birthday, celebrating it right here on the air on Dave's Gone By. But before then, we have to close this show out, which means, did I forget? The old Dave hitting 57 years old, turn a little senile and forget what to do. Oh no, my friends. I know that we still have a Colorado Limerick of the Damned to do.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Yes, beautiful Colorado. I do miss it. And a place in Colorado that I actually have never seen, I have to say, but there's so many of these limericks are just places that I saw. There's a name of that town on this website and it's real. And I've never heard of them. I'm going to write a poem about it. And that's what we do every week here on Dave's Gone By, a new Colorado limerick of the damned. And this week we go to Cascade. Cascade, yes, I guess the dropstone spot in Colorado. It's a tourist town in Central Co. From the 1880s to 1920s, it was a resort town. And this was before railroads found other ways to get people to Pikes Peak. Until then, people just took the way through Cascade. Cascade Canyon and many waterfalls were big attractions, hence the name Cascade. An early settler, Eliza Marriott Hewlett, of all things, really helped build the town. And it's still a great place, apparently, for flora and fauna and national parks. Not only that, according to Wikipedia, if you're looking for something to do in Cascade that doesn't have to do with nature, they have a gourmet popcorn store and the North Pole Amusement Park.
Whoa!
I'm telling you.
Too much excitement.
Who needs Lincoln Center, right? Who needs Kingsburg Amusement Park? Who needs Disneyland? No. North Pole Amusement Park, and of course a gourmet popcorn store in Cascade, Colorado. So in honor of that, we're going to do our 5-line poem, our Colorado limerick of the damned. Oh, and get your children out of the room, just because. Silence, please. I know an old whore in Cascade whose pussy is dank and decayed. To keep men who lick from getting real sick, she sprays her vajayjay with Glade. Send your comments and complaint letters to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. I read everything. I don't necessarily have the time to respond to everything, but I do love hearing from you. davesgoneby@aol.com, or feel free to post or message me on this Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. Would love to hear from you. Follow my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. Follow Rabbi Sol's Twitter feed also. It's at Rabbi Sol Solomon, SOLOMON. Let's see, reminder that if you missed all or part of this show and you want to share it with other people, just go to davesgoneby.com. All the archives are there. You know, all those people I mentioned, in our Friends of the Daverhood segment, Woody King Jr. and Phil Mushnick and Stuart Brown and Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano and Ellie, King of Broadway, and David J. Gerstein. They're all, you can listen to their interviews and find them for free at davesgoneby.com, also at archive.org, also the audio at castbox.fm, and everything as well, except when YouTube censors it. Listen to the Rabbi on youtube.com too. So it just remains for me to thank you so much for tuning in to the 781st episode of Dave's Gone By. Thank you to Maria and Warhol and David Gann from my high school, and Tim and David F. and Alan, Mike M, Peter and Mark and Jane and David. David F is back. Shelley, Vicky, Maria, and Anne, and so many other people that Joyce can't see because she can't do a whole watch party thing. But it's great that you're tuning in. It's great that you're telling other people to tune in. That's for, and it reminds me that if you're on Long Island and you have still, if anybody still has cable TV, and you're getting Altice, Optimum, whatever the hell they call it, on channel 20 on Monday mornings early, like 1 o'clock in the morning, you'll see my face. So you'll see excerpts of Dave's Gone By, Monday mornings, channel 20 on Altice local cable, or Tuesday mornings, 4 a.m. Gewalt. Yes, those are the time slots we got for excerpts of the show. But again, the best place to watch the show is davesgoneby.com, or of course, the episodes from the past 3 or 4 years that we've been doing on Facebook are archived on our Facebook page. So you just keep rolling back and back, or do a time thing, and you can listen and watch and find them. Either way, we're thrilled to be in the Daverhood every Saturday morning. We'll see you on my birthday, January 23rd, 2021, for the 782nd episode of Dave's Gone By. As we always have to stay healthy, stay well, stay sane, and gone by.
Dave's gone by.